Chapter 1766. Lu Ming, I don't think you're clear about the division of the martial emperor realm. Wang Ling said. Lu Ming nodded. He had just arrived at the ancient Moon Holy Land not long ago and there was no emperor-level figure in the Tsang state. Naturally, he was not clear about the division of the martial emperor realm. The martial emperor realm is actually divided into several realms. Those who have just broken through to the martial emperor realm are called the minor emperor realm, then the intermediate emperor realm, then the great emperor realm. Above the great emperor realm is the heavenly emperor realm. Each emperor realm is divided into 7 stars. Wang Ling explained. Lu Ming was shocked. There were so many realms in the martial emperor realm. Minor emperor realm, intermediate emperor realm, great emperor realm, heavenly emperor realm. Each emperor realm was divided into 7 stars. How shocking was that? Outside the ancient Moon Holy Land, the emperor-level experts of the emperor-level forces are generally in the minor emperor realm. They are not considered true great emperors. However, many people below the martial emperor realm will address those emperor-level experts as great emperors. In fact, only those who have reached the great emperor realm are true great emperors. They will add the word great emperor to their title, such as the reincarnation great emperor in the 100-clan battlefield. Huang Ling continued to explain. I see. Lu Ming understood. Usually, the great emperors they referred to were not great emperors but just a title. For example, Emperor Tsang, Emperor Yun, Thousand-Kill Martial Emperor, etc. They were not great emperors so their titles did not include the word great emperor. For example, Emperor Tsang was called great emperor in the Tsang state. Of course, that was because the people in the Tsang state did not know the division of the martial emperor realm. The reincarnation great emperor was a true great emperor. There are so many realms in the martial emperor realm. I guess people like Emperor Tsang are just minor emperors. The road to the top is long but it's more interesting. Lu Ming's eyes flashed with anticipation. The road of martial arts was long, and the process of climbing was a kind of fun. Great emperors are the ones who stand at the top. Now, I don't know if the ancient Moon Holy Land has any. In the Celestial City, several great emperors have come forward to establish the Yuan Mountain Holy Court. This is something that has never happened before, so naturally it's attracted countless geniuses. Yi Dongfang said with a look of yearning in his eyes. Are there any heavenly emperor powerhouses in Yuan Mountain? Lu Ming asked. I don't know. Huang Ling, Long Chen and the others shook their heads. Legend has it that the Celestial Emperor city was built by the Celestial Emperor himself. But now, the Celestial Emperor is a legend that cannot be seen in this world. The Celestial Emperor is the pinnacle. Long Chen sighed. Is there a realm above the Celestial Emperor? Lu Ming asked again. There are legends but they're too far away. They're legends among legends. Huang Ling said after pondering for a moment. Lu Ming found it hard to calm down. He thought of many things. What realm were the top 10 beasts in? Eggy had once said that the 10 strongest war beasts were the peak existences in the world. Were they the great emperors or the celestial emperors? Back then Lu Ming had seen the Titan Longhorn beetle attack. It was truly incomparably terrifying, as if it could destroy the world. Also, it was said that the primal Chaos Emperor was even stronger than the top 10 beasts. What realm was he at? After thinking for a while, Lu Ming shook his head and pulled his thoughts back. These things were still too far away from him. Has Yuan Mountain's sacred courtyard been convened? Lu Ming changed the topic. No, I heard that it has been built. I believe that it will be convened soon. This time, those geniuses returned from Celestial City to prepare for the opening of Yuan Mountain's sacred courtyard. After all, it's not that easy to enter Yuan Mountain's sacred courtyard. Long Chen said. Everyone chatted and drank. Time passed quickly, and a few hours had passed in the blink of an eye. Lu Ming knew a lot of information that he didn't know before. Although Lu Ming obtained a part of the 9 dragons' memories, it was only a part after all. Many of them were missing. Moreover, the 9 dragons had fallen a long time ago. Their memories of Yuan Mountain were almost blank. Lu Ming, I have something to ask. How about we go out and talk? Long Chen said. All right. Lu Ming nodded. We should go too. Huang Ling said. Then Huang Ling, Yi Dongfang, Su Ran and the others all left. Lu Ming paid the bill and left with Long Chen. At this time it was already night. The two of them walked in the air above the clouds. How's the situation in Divine Wilderness now? Long Chen asked. Lu Ming wasn't surprised. He knew that Long Chen would definitely ask. Divine Wilderness is now unified. Lu Ming briefly recounted what had happened in the Divine Wilderness continent. After listening to it, Long Chen fell silent and didn't speak for a long time. Lu Ming didn't say anything either. After all, Long Qin came from an overlord force, which was destroyed by him. As for the Xie family, they closed their doors and sealed themselves for 10,000 years. Long Qin's fiancée was the princess of the Xie family, Xian Yanlin. After a long time, Long Qin sighed and said, I didn't expect that such a thing would happen in Divine Wilderness. But it's good this way. In fact, when I saw you, I knew that the situation in Divine Wilderness has most likely stabilized. You don't blame me? Lu Ming asked. What's there to blame about the situation? In this world, many things happen every day. Many forces are destroyed and many forces are born. This is the unchanging rule of this world. If I were you, I would do the same. Long Qin said with a smile. Thank you. Lu Ming said. I should be the one thanking you. Thank you for letting the Xie family go. Long Qin said with a smile. After pondering for a while, he said, It seems that I will have to make a trip back to Divine Wilderness. I want to bring Yanlin out. It's not a violation of the oath, right? Of course not. When are you going back? Does the Divine Elephant Sect have a teleportation array? Lu Ming asked. After leaving for so many years, Lu Ming also wanted to go back. The Divine Elephant Sect doesn't have a teleportation array to the Divine Ruins continent. For the ancient Moon Holy Land, the Divine Ruins continent is too remote. No force would open such a teleportation array. As far as I know, only some forces in Song State, Cloud State, and Emperor State are relatively close to the Divine Ruins continent. Only then can they open a teleportation array. Long Qin said. What? Only Song State, Cloud State, and Emperor State have teleportation arrays? Lu Ming's expression changed. That's right. What? Could it be that something big happened in these three states? Long Qin asked. That's right. Lu Ming immediately told him about the Evil Spirit Sect. It's actually the Evil Spirit Sect. I will go back and report this matter to Master and see if he can send people to Tsang State to destroy the Evil Spirit Sect. Long Qin said. Lu Ming nodded. It would be best if the Divine Elephant Sect sent experts to destroy the Evil Spirit Sect. Lu Ming, we haven't seen each other in many years. Why don't we spar? Long Qin suddenly spoke. A powerful battle intent emanated from his body. That's exactly what I want. Chapter 1767. Long Qin was the #1 person among the younger generation in the Divine Wilderness continent. He had awakened one of the top 10 battle beasts, the immemorial dragonesque elephant bloodline, which was extremely powerful and had unparalleled combat strength. Later on, he became the disciple of the Divine Elephant Sect and came to the ancient Moon Holy Land. After so many years, Lu Ming was also very curious to see how far Long Qin had come. Boom, boom. The two stood in the sky, facing each other, and a terrifying aura erupted from their bodies. Their auras collided fiercely, and in an instant, the surrounding clouds were directly blasted away and scattered. Great Circle of the Bright Sage Realm. As soon as the aura was revealed, Lu Ming could see that Long Qin's cultivation was at the Great Circle of the Bright Sage Realm. He was not far from the Great Saint Realm. This was normal. Although Long Qin's cultivation was surpassed by Lu Ming came to the ancient Moon Holy Land and became the disciple of the Divine Elephant Sect. The resources that Lu Ming received were definitely far more than Lu Ming's. It was normal that he had reached the Great Circle of the Bright Sage Realm. Brr, brr. A dragon's roar and an elephant's trumpet sounded at the same time. Above their heads, a vision of heaven and earth appeared at the same time. A 9-dragon and an immemorial dragonesque elephant. Both of them had the aura and majesty of overlooking the world. Then the two moved at the same time. The two figures rushed towards each other at the same time. Lu Ming's body flowed with the law of primal chaos as he performed the suppressing hell heaven skill. With a palm strike, his palm seemed to have turned into a suppressing hell monument, suppressing Long Qin. Lu Ming did not hold back against Long Qin and used all his strength. Brr. Long Qin's body constantly emitted the sound of an elephant's trumpet. His body swelled up and his arms grew rapidly. His muscles were knotted as if they were filled with endless strength. The two palms struck each other fiercely, meeting force with force. Dong. Like two stars colliding, the sky trembled and the space fluctuated violently. An invisible force burst out from the place where the two collided, sweeping across a radius of thousands of miles, destroying all the clouds. The two separated after one strike and retreated at the same time. What a terrifying power this is, the law of strength. Lu Ming's mind raced as he saw through Long Qin's laws. Long Qin's law was the extreme force law. It was known as the extreme force law. With the circulation of the law, he could release an incomparably terrifying power with just a raise of his hand. This was a terrifying law. Although it was not as powerful as the 10 supreme laws, it was not too far off. It was one of the most terrifying laws below the 10 supreme laws. Again? Long Chen's fighting spirit soared like a rainbow. He was like an immemorial divine elephant, stepping on the void with all his strength. Good timing. Lu Ming had nothing to fear. He cultivated the law of primal chaos, one of the strongest laws in the world. He also had the hell-suppressing heaven skill. With the combination of these two, every strike contained boundless power that could suppress everything. Dong. The two of them clashed for the second time, and an even more intense roar resounded between heaven and earth. This time, the two figures trembled and continued to bombard each other. Dong. Dong. Terrifying collisions occurred one after another. The two of them seemed to have transformed into ancient wild beasts, suppressing the world. The two figures flickered in the sky, and terrifying forces burst out continuously. In the blink of an eye, the two of them had exchanged more than 100 blows, and there was no clear winner. Long Chen's spiritual body was also a medium heaven spiritual body, and his law was the extreme force law. Both of them were slightly weaker than Lu Ming, but their cultivation was much stronger than Lu Ming's. The two of them fought fiercely, and it was difficult to determine the winner. Bam! Another blow was exchanged, and the two of them retreated. Lu Ming, I'm going to use my super skill next. You have to be careful. Long Chen's fighting spirit grew stronger. Same to you, Lu Ming said. The blood in his body boiled, and the law of primal chaos circulated throughout his body. Extreme force divine elephant fist. Chaotic calamity finger. The two of them shouted at the same time and used the chaotic calamity finger. Lu Ming did not hide his strength, and he unleashed his full strength. 33% of the chaotic calamity finger burst out, and a huge finger like the finger of a god pointed at Long Chen. Long Chen punched out, and a giant elephant appeared in the sky. It roared at the sky and stepped on the void and jumped toward Lu Ming as if it wanted to destroy everything. Boom! The chaotic calamity finger and the giant elephant collided, and then there was an earth-shattering explosion. Lu Ming and Long Chen used the force of the explosion to retreat a few hundred miles, and looked at each other from afar. Lu Ming, I haven't seen you for many years and you're still so strong. Today's battle was really enjoyable. How about we spar another day? Long Chen said. You're very strong too. Let's spar another day. Lu Ming nodded. I'll look for you in a few days when there's news from my master. With that, Long Chen turned around and left. Of course, Lu Ming did not notice that Long Chen's hand, which was hidden in his sleeve, was trembling. After Long Chen left, Lu Ming shook his numb hand and smiled bitterly. My cultivation is still a little weak. To be honest, Long Chen was very strong, and Lu Ming had a faint feeling that Long Chen might not have used his full strength in the last divine ability. Of course, Lu Ming's means were not limited to that. If he really went all out, Long Chen might not be able to defeat him. With a faint smile, Lu Ming turned around and left, returning to Phoenix Palace. For the next few days, Lu Ming spent his time cultivating. 3 days later, Long Chen came to Phoenix Palace. Your master didn't agree? Lu Ming frowned slightly. Long Chen's face was also full of bitterness. He sat down in the seat in Lu Ming's courtyard, took out a bottle of wine and took a big gulp. That's right. I told Master about the evil spirit sect and wanted to ask him to send people to annihilate the evil spirit sect. However, Master rejected me directly. He said that he would leave such a small matter to me to settle. Left to you to deal with? Lu Ming was also speechless. Sai, it seems that I can't go back for the time being. I can only work hard to cultivate and become a Arch in the future. Only then can I kill my way to Tsang Prefecture and take the teleportation array back to the Divine Wilderness. Long Chen said helplessly. Lu Ming smiled bitterly. It seemed that this was a test from Long Chen's master. Smells good. There's wine to drink again. A tender voice came from outside the courtyard. Then they saw Bubbles scurrying in with Huang Ling behind her. Over the past few days, Bubble had gotten familiar with Huang Ling. They spent every day together running around Phoenix Palace. Phoenix Palace had quite a number of sacred medicines that entered her stomach. Little girl, you still like to drink. I'll give you a jar. A wine jar appeared in Long Chen's hand and he threw it to Bubbles. Bubbles caught it, opened the lid and took a big gulp. She was so happy that her eyes narrowed. This little guy is really greedy. Huang Ling walked in with a smile. Just nice, I still have a golden crow wing here that I haven't eaten yet. Lu Ming smiled and took out a golden wing. Sacred power surged, and he plucked all the golden crow feathers on the wing and began to roast it. Huang Ling was a little stunned. She did not expect Lu Ming to really dare to roast a golden crow wing. Not long after, a fragrant smell assailed their nostrils. They began to eat heartily, especially Bubbles. Her mouth was full of oil and her eyes were narrowed. But at that moment, Lu Ming's expression changed. A token rushed out of his body, emitting a resplendent light. Chapter 1768. The primordial chaos token suddenly rushed out, which surprised Lu Ming. However, in the next moment, Long Chen and Huang Ling's bodies also lit up, and a primordial chaos token rushed out. Obviously, Huang Ling had also obtained a primordial chaos token. Lu Ming was not surprised. It was said that the primordial chaos token was given to people with great potential. Before Huang Ling broke through to the ruler realm, she had awakened the immortal heavenly phoenix bloodline. She was one of the top 10 war beasts and was not weaker than Long Chen. It was normal for her to obtain a primordial chaos token. Could it be that the final test of the primordial chaos sect is coming? Huang Ling said in a delicate voice, and a trace of anticipation appeared in her eyes. The final test of the primordial chaos sect. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. When he first obtained the primordial chaos token, a voice was transmitted to him, meaning that he had passed the preliminary test. Later on, Tui had told Lu Ming that the primordial chaos token was related to the successor of the primordial chaos sect. In fact, Lu Ming had been waiting all this while. It had been so many years. Was it finally time? The 3 primordial chaos tokens floated above the 3 of them, and the light became brighter and brighter. In the end, they formed 3 light pillars that enveloped the 3 of them. I want to go too, chirp chirp. Bubbles flew into Lu Ming's arms. At first, Lu Ming was afraid that the light pillar would repel Bubbles. After all, Bubbles did not have a primordial chaos token. He did not expect that the light pillar would not be abnormal at all. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The light pillar buzzed. Then Lu Ming, Huang Ling and Long Chen disappeared. Of course, Bubbles also disappeared. Lu Ming felt as if he was traveling through time and space. This feeling was very similar to when he went to the primordial chaos palace. He must have traveled through a long space to have this feeling. Suddenly his body shook. Lu Ming found that he had appeared on a small boat. Where is this? Lu Ming looked around. In all directions there were layers of clouds. It was vast and clouds and mist lingered. He could not tell east, west, north or south. There was no land or sky. Below him, a small boat was floating in the vast clouds. Big brother Lu Ming. Bubbles actually came in as well. She stood beside Lu Ming and looked around curiously. The previous generation spirit mouse was one of the primordial chaos sect's hall masters. Perhaps because of this reason Bubbles can enter without a primordial chaos token. Lu Ming secretly guessed. Huang Ling Long. Lu Ming's gaze looked. Huang Ling and Long Chen were on the right side of Lu Ming. There was a side boat under their feet, suspended in the clouds. Huang Ling, someone from your Phoenix Palace must have entered before. What should we do next? Lu Ming asked. Huang Ling shook her head and said, the Battle of Providence has been going on for many years. Every once in a while, someone will obtain the Chaos Origin token and enter the final test. However, the place to enter is different every time. Therefore, I have no experience in this. That's right. I've seen similar records in the Divine Elephant sect. In the Primordial Chaos sect's final test, the place to enter is different every time, but the place after is always the same. Long Chen added. Do you know what kind of existence Primordial Chaos sect is? They control the War of Providence. How can they cover the entire Yuan continent? Lu Ming had always been curious about this. Legend has it that Primordial Chaos sect is one of the top forces in the Heaven domain. It is very powerful. Yuan continent has countless powerful unique skills. They are all passed down from Primordial Chaos sect. Rumor has it that Primordial Chaos sect is looking for a successor. Huang Ling explained. Could it be that all the youths with talent and potential in the entire Yuan continent will undergo the final test? Lu Ming asked. Not necessarily. Primordial Chaos sect is one of the most powerful inheritances in the world. But it is not the only one. There are inheritances that are as powerful as Primordial Chaos sect. Also, some geniuses did not take part in the War of Providence. Naturally, they cannot take part in the final test. However, there will be a large number of geniuses with terrifying talent and potential. Huang Ling explained. Lu Ming nodded. This time they might meet a large number of peerless geniuses from all over Yuan continent. Those who could get Primordial Chaos tokens were definitely people with great potential. Some of the geniuses might have reached an unimaginable level. What should we do next? Long Chen asked. We can only move forward. Our 3 boats are heading in the same direction. Let's move forward, Lu Ming suggested. Huang Ling and Long Qin nodded. The 3 of them channeled their saint power into the boat. The boat flew forward quickly. This place was boundless. There was no direction. There was no land or starry sky. The 3 of them could only move forward. However, after a few days they still did not discover anything. The surroundings were still filled with clouds and mist. It was ethereal and boundless as if there was no end to it. Fortunately, the 3 of them were very patient. They sat cross-legged on the boat and cultivated as they moved forward. They were not in a hurry. Bubble, on the other hand, was very curious at first. She blinked her eyes and looked left and right. When she realized that there was nothing but clouds in all directions and there was almost no difference, she lay down on the boat out of boredom and fell asleep. Time passed day by day. In the blink of an eye, half a month had passed. They were still sailing in the clouds. Look, what is that? Suddenly Huang Ling exclaimed in surprise. Lu Ming and Long Qin also looked forward. There was a figure in the endless clouds. It was a huge figure. This figure was sitting cross-legged in the clouds. Its energy was as high as the sky and it was incomparably huge. Endless clouds surrounded its body. This is. The 3 of them narrowed their eyes. The figure was too huge. Even a 10,000 feet tall mountain was like an ant in front of the figure. What a powerful sword essence. The closer they got, the more they felt that the figure was emitting a terrifying sword essence. It was as if it was going to split the heavens and earth. It was definitely a terrifying existence. However, the figure just sat there and did not move. No, it's an illusory figure. It's not real. Lu Ming looked carefully and suddenly said. He realized that the figure was not real. It was just an illusory figure. Huang Ling and Long Qin let out a long breath. The figure gave them too much pressure. It was definitely an unimaginable existence. It could probably kill them with a breath. If someone who cultivates the way of the sword comes here, it will definitely be a great opportunity, Huang Ling exclaimed. If someone who cultivates the way of the sword came here and comprehended the sword essence of the huge figure, they would definitely gain something. However, none of the 3 of them specialized in the way of the sword. Naturally, it was not of much use. The 3 of them drove the boat around the huge figure and continued to move forward. However, not long after, they encountered another figure. It was also huge and emitted an extremely rich metal element aura. For the 3 of them it was not of much use. The 3 of them went around it. Chapter 1769. Could it be that these figures are the projections of the powerful existences of the Hunyuan sect? Huang Ling guessed. That's very likely. Lu Ming and Long Qin nodded. The 3 of them continued to move forward. Suddenly they saw a huge spirit rat in front of them. It's the space-time spirit rat. Lu Ming was shocked. He could tell at a glance that this huge spirit rat was the space-time spirit rat. The fact that the space-time spirit rat's figure appeared here meant that the real bodies of these figures were not necessarily alive in the world. Many of them might have already fallen. At this moment, Bubbles got up and looked at the huge space-time spirit rat's figure in a daze. Her eyes were filled with sadness. Suddenly, the space-time spirit rat's figure began to shrink rapidly. Finally, it turned into a ray of light and rushed towards Lu Ming. Its speed was unimaginable. Before Lu Ming could react, the ray of light rushed into Bubbles' forehead and disappeared. Bubbles' expression became serious. She sat cross-legged on the boat and began to cultivate. Her body emitted a mysterious aura and was surrounded by the law of space-time. Lu Ming was overjoyed. He knew that this was Bubbles' opportunity. After that, the 3 of them continued to move forward. After another 2 days they saw a huge elephant in the sky. It was roaring at the sky, and its aura was suppressing all directions. It was one of the top 10 battle beasts, the immemorial dragonesque elephant. Long Qin looked at the immemorial dragonesque elephant with full concentration. Finally, like the space-time spirit rat, the immemorial dragonesque elephant's figure shrank rapidly. Finally, it turned into a ray of light and disappeared into Long Qin's forehead. Long Qin closed his eyes and comprehended. He separated a part of his mind to control the boat and move forward with Lu Ming and the others. This vast and endless land seemed to have the projections of many powerful existences. Soon they encountered a huge phoenix. Its body was filled with immortal flames. This was one of the top 10 battle beasts, the immortal heavenly phoenix. The immortal heavenly phoenix's figure also turned into a ray of light and rushed into Huang Ling's forehead. Bubbles, Long Qin, and Huang Ling all obtained opportunities one after another. Lu Ming was also looking forward to it. What would he encounter? Would he encounter the 9 dragons figure? Another 2 days passed. It had been more than 20 days since they entered this place. Up ahead, a gigantic figure sat in the void with his legs crossed. His entire body was surrounded by a chaotic aura. This is the Primal Chaos Emperor. Lu Ming's eyes suddenly lit up. The Chaos Emperor was also one of the 9 palace masters of the Hunyuan sect. The Chaos Emperor exuded a powerful and terrifying fluctuation of the law of primal chaos. Lu Ming stared at the Chaos Emperor's illusory figure. The law of primal chaos burst forth from his body and resonated with the Chaos Emperor's illusory figure. Sure enough, the figure of the Chaos Emperor shrank rapidly. Finally, it turned into a ray of light and rushed into Lu Ming's glabella. Lu Ming immediately closed his eyes as the phantom of a primal Chaos Emperor appeared in his mind, exuding a powerful aura of primal chaos law. A great opportunity. Lu Ming's eyes brightened. If he could use this phantom as a reference, the speed at which he comprehended the laws of primal chaos would increase greatly. He didn't expect that he would encounter such an opportunity after being brought here by the Hunyuan token. Lu Ming divided a small part of his attention to control the boat and continued to sail forward. Then he quietly comprehended the Chaos Tribulation finger. Sure enough, with the Chaos Emperor's illusory figure in his mind as a reference, the speed at which he comprehended the Chaos Tribulation finger greatly increased. 7 days later, Lu Ming's Chaos Tribulation finger had reached 40% mastery. It had been a month since they entered this place. Rumble. A violent rumble came from up ahead. Lu Ming, Huang Ling and Long Chen woke up from their cultivation at the same time. This was the first time they had heard such a violent sound since entering this place. The 3 of them looked forward. Not far away there were flashes of lightning that covered the entire space. Suddenly, their expressions changed as they looked to the sides. They finally saw the others. They were all young people, both men and women. Each of them had an extraordinary aura. At a glance, they could tell that they were giants among men. These people were like Lu Ming and the others. Each of them was riding a small boat and sailing forward. A few of them glanced at Lu Ming and the others coldly. However, they only glanced at them and looked forward. What powerful cultivation! Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. Although he had only glanced at those people, they gave off a strong pressure. These people's cultivation was definitely not as simple as Bright Saints. They had probably surpassed Bright Saints and reached a higher realm. They continued to sail forward. The deafening sound in front of them became louder and louder. It was the sound of thunder. Endless lightning flashed in the void, blocking the path ahead. The test has finally arrived. But how can mere lightning stop me? A proud figure sounded. Lu Ming saw a young man with sharp eyes and a mouth like a goshawk's. He stood on a small boat and accelerated forward. When he approached the area of lightning, a terrifying power of lightning erupted from his body. Sizzle! The lightning between heaven and earth constantly bombarded that person. The power of lightning also erupted from that person's body, fighting against the lightning outside. He drove the boat and disappeared in the vast lightning in the blink of an eye. Is that person from the Thunder Clan? Huang Ling said with a solemn face. Thunder Clan. Lu Ming was curious. The Thunder Clan is an ancient clan. This ancient clan has been around for countless years and is extremely powerful. Their foundation is unfathomable. Even many of the powerful forces in the ancient Moon Holy Land are incomparable to this ancient clan. Huang Ling explained. Lu Ming nodded. Then other people drove the boats and rushed toward the area of lightning. Suddenly a scream was heard. A young man could not withstand the power of the lightning and was turned into ashes by the lightning. You're not a martial sage yet and you're here to die. A woman with a cold face said indifferently. Her figure disappeared in the sea of lightning. Not all the geniuses who entered here had powerful cultivation. Some of them had not become martial sages. This made a few young men pale and they did not dare to go forward. However, most of the young men were fearless. They drove the boats and rushed into the sea of lightning to fight against it. A few of the young men exploded. Their auras were earth-shattering, shocking the others. Such powerful cultivation. This is the aura of an absolute saint. Huang Ling's eyes flashed with shock. One should know that these people were all very young. They were definitely under 50 years old and belonged to the younger generation. It was shocking that they had reached the absolute saint realm at such a young age. This time, many powerful geniuses from the primordial continent have entered. It's normal that there are absolute saints. Long Chen said. His expression was still calm. Let's go too, Lu Ming said. Chapter 1770. Rumble. Sizzle. Sizzle. As soon as they rushed into the sea of lightning, countless lightning bolts surged toward them, striking their heads and faces. Lu Ming's primal chaos law flowed around his body. His palms were like knives, constantly slashing out to disperse the lightning bolts. It's very powerful. Ordinary bright saints and the greater bright saints would find it difficult to resist. Lu Ming roughly knew the power of the lightning bolts after clashing with them. On the other side, Huang Ling's body was filled with undying flames, which condensed into a phoenix. The phoenix spread its wings and destroyed all the lightning bolts. Long Chen's attack method was similar to Lu Ming's. He punched out with both fists and destroyed the lightning bolts. As for Bubbles, she was the simplest. Her body was filled with the space-time law. When the lightning bolts struck the space-time law, they directly disappeared. That's the primal chaos law? And the space-time law. The other youths saw Lu Ming and Bubbles and their faces became very grave. Lu Ming and the other three shuttled through the sea of lightning, resisting the lightning bolts as they moved forward. The sea of lightning was very large, but with the strength of Lu Ming and the other three, they could completely withstand it. After some time they passed through the sea of lightning. As soon as they passed through the sea of lightning, they saw a huge platform in front of them, floating in the vast void. Looking from afar, there were some figures on the platform. Had they finally arrived? Their eyes lit up as they sped up and soon arrived at the edge of the platform. As soon as they arrived at the edge of the platform, the boat under their feet automatically disappeared, and the four of them stepped onto the platform. So many people. Lu Ming looked around and found that there were more than 1,000 people on the platform. All of them were young men and women, and each of them had an extraordinary aura. Some of them exuded powerful auras. Some of them were bright saints, some were great saints, and some were even absolute saints. However, there were even more people who had completely restrained their auras, giving others an unfathomable feeling. Lu Ming and the other three stepped onto the platform. Some people glanced at them, but more people sat cross-legged on the platform and closed their eyes to rest. There's a door there. Huang Ling said softly. Lu Ming and the others also noticed. In the depths of the platform there was a huge stone door. The stone door was tens of thousands of feet tall, but now the stone door was tightly shut. Around the stone door was a vast void surrounded by clouds and mist. These young geniuses were probably waiting for the stone door to open. Lu Ming's group of four found an open space and walked over. Then they all sat down cross-legged, seizing the opportunity to cultivate and comprehend. In this place, geniuses were as common as clouds. He had to make the best use of his time to cultivate. If he could increase his strength, it might be of great use at a critical moment. There was complete silence on the platform. As time passed, more and more people came to the platform. The number of people on the platform increased. Not long after, the number had reached around 2,000, but it was still increasing. When the number of people reached around 3,000, almost no one came. At this moment, the huge stone door trembled slightly. Then it emitted a resplendent radiance. Following that, a figure condensed out of it. It was a white-robed old man with a kind face. Everyone, next I will open the door and you will face the real test. However, I have to remind you that the test will be very dangerous. If you want to give up, just shout out loud and I will send you back. The old man's voice spread throughout the place. However, everyone's eyes were firm. These young geniuses came from different regions, but there was no doubt that they were all terrifying and powerful geniuses. Being able to be recognized by the Chaos Origin token proved that they had unlimited potential. Therefore, these young geniuses were all proud and confident. How could they give up so easily? Open. After the white-robed old man finished speaking, he waved his hand and a ray of light landed on the stone door. The stone door shook and slowly opened. Through the stone door, one could see that behind the stone door was another world, a verdant and lush world. Whoosh, whoosh. As soon as the stone door opened, some people rushed over as if they were afraid that others would beat them to it. Then more people rushed forward. The stone door was very large. Even if thousands of people rushed through it together, it would not seem crowded. Lu Ming and the others also blended into the crowd and rushed through the door. However, at this moment, a huge palm suddenly appeared in the sky in front of them and blasted down on a genius. The huge palm was as big as a mountain and covered the sky. The genius screamed in pain and was smashed into meat paste by the huge palm. Then with a loud roar, a towering giant ape jumped down from the sky. The earth shook and a genius could not dodge in time and was directly trampled to death. The palm just now came from this giant ape. The giant ape roared and slapped a pair of huge palms towards the others. We can't fight it head-on. Retreat. Someone roared and retreated frantically. Then there were continuous roars coming from the sky. Lu Ming felt his hair stand on end. A strong sense of danger shrouded him. Retreat! Lu Ming roared. With a roll of his sacred power, he brought Bubbles, Huangling and Long Qin back quickly. Boom! Another giant ape appeared where Lu Ming and the others were just now. It roared into the sky and a murderous aura spread out. Bam! Bam! In the sky there were constantly giant apes falling. These giant apes were thousands of feet tall and were bigger than a mountain. There were more than a dozen of them and they covered the area. Their palms were constantly slapping at the geniuses. In the blink of an eye, a few more geniuses were slapped to death. Get lost, a bunch of trash. Someone shouted coldly and did not retreat. Instead, he rushed up and unleashed a shocking attack to fight against the giant apes. Boom! There was a loud explosion and the giant apes were pushed back. That person turned into a ray of light and rushed out of the encirclement of the giant apes and disappeared. Swoosh! Lu Ming saw that it was a genius from the Thunder Tribe. His hand grasped the air and a terrifying and boundless power of lightning condensed into a palm. He easily pushed back a giant ape and broke through. What a strong power of lightning! Lu Ming exclaimed. The law of lightning was a very ordinary law. However, in the hands of the Lei clan, the might it unleashed was incomparably powerful. Destroy! A gray-robed youth with a terrifying aura of death slashed out with his palm. It turned into a terrifying saber and slashed out. It cut off the giant ape's palm and easily passed through the area. The law of death. Lu Ming's pupils shrank rapidly. During his time in the ancient Moon Holy Ground, he had learned a lot about the thousands of laws in the world. The law of death was an extremely terrifying law. It was as famous as the law of chaos, the law of spacetime, and the law of reincarnation. It was one of the 10 strongest laws in the world. Those who mastered the law of death were known as the Son of Heaven, the Son of Death. Chapter 1771. It was a black-robed young man. He was burly and his eyes were like lightning. The law that flowed around him was actually the law of primal chaos. Lu Ming was shocked. Other than him, there was someone else who could control the law of primal chaos. Could it be the chaotic body that Tui mentioned? Lu Ming guessed. That was the only possibility. Lu Ming never thought that he would see the chaotic body so soon. This person was extremely powerful like a god. He was enveloped in the law of primal chaos. With a punch, a giant ape's palm exploded. The ape's huge body was forced to retreat. Kill? This person was extremely domineering. With a loud roar, his voice shook the sky. He did not leave and continued to attack the giant ape. Boom, boom, boom. Both of his fists continued to bombard the giant ape, causing it to explode. This made many people gasp in shock. Every single one of these giant apes was extremely powerful and difficult to deal with. But now this person had blasted the giant ape apart. You think you can compete with me for the inheritance of the Hunyuan sect? You're overestimating yourselves. The black-robed young man exuded primal chaos chi as he spoke coldly. He was like a proud god. Then he took a step forward and disappeared. Is this the battle prowess of the chaotic body? Lu Ming's eyes were solemn. But there was no time to think. The 4 of them flashed and dodged the attacks of the giant apes. With their battle prowess, they were no match for these giant apes. If they were hit, they would probably be killed with a single slap. Let me help you. Bubbles' tender voice rang out. The law of spacetime enveloped Lu Ming, Huangling, and Long Qin. The law of spacetime was profound. The speed of the 3 of them immediately increased. They flashed and dodged the attacks of the giant apes. Soon they rushed out of the territory. Once they rushed out of the territory, the giant apes stopped attacking. They only blocked them in the territory. People constantly rushed past, but there were even more people who were killed. In a short period of time, Lu Ming saw at least a few hundred people killed. These were all peerless geniuses from various regions. They were not ordinary geniuses. Their potential was extremely shocking. They would have no problem reaching the Emperor realm in the future. They could be said to be future martial emperors. But now they were constantly being killed. Retreat. Retreat. Some people were scared and retreated outside the gate. Since you don't dare to move forward, I'll send you back. The white-robed old man waved his hand and the retreating youths were all sent out of the place. As a result, there were some people who were unwilling to give up. They did everything they could to charge forward. There were people who died here, but there were also people who continued to charge past. Let's go. Immediately, Lu Ming's group of 4 rose into the air and flew forward. However, they didn't fly very far before they stopped. Up ahead, there was a deep abyss blocking their path. All the young geniuses who had reached this place stopped. There was also a white-haired old man standing in the air above the abyss. This white-robed old man looked exactly the same as the one from before. It was clear that this was not a physical body but a projection. It could appear in different places at the same time. This abyss can't be crossed. Only when everyone is here can we cross it using a special method. The white-robed old man said. No one doubted the white-robed old man's words. The white-robed old man was unfathomable and unfathomable. Moreover, since ancient times, countless people had entered this place. Many successors of large factions understood this point. Only by following the rules of this place and passing through the checkpoints could they reach the end and obtain great benefits. Bam! At this moment, a tall figure appeared in front of Lu Ming, Huang Ling and the others. A terrifying aura pressed down on them. The expressions of Lu Ming and the others changed. This was because this young man was the genius who used the law of primal chaos and was suspected to have the chaotic body. The terrifying aura forced Lu Ming and the others to release their auras to resist. The law of primal chaos also flowed around Lu Ming's body, attracting everyone's attention. The law of primal chaos. 2 people have grasped the law of primal chaos. Many people exclaimed in shock. A great era is coming. Many peerless geniuses will have their fated enemies appear. Someone said solemnly. Those who controlled the 10 supreme laws were not invincible. They would encounter other experts who controlled the same supreme laws or even experts who controlled the same laws. The 10 supreme laws could not be controlled by only one person. In a great era there might be 2 or even 3 people who could control them. Such people were known as fated enemies. A mountain could not accommodate 2 tigers. Such a great enemy was destined to have a victor. Only by stepping on the corpse of the opponent could one reach the strongest. Of course, all of this was just a legend because there were too few people who could control the 10 supreme laws. In ordinary times, it was difficult for one to appear in tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of years, let alone several people who could control the same law at the same time. However, when a great era was coming and geniuses rose, it was different. The black-robed young man looked coldly at Lu Ming and said, "The person who entered the primal chaos hall before me was you, right?" As expected, this person really did have the chaotic body. He had also seen Lu Ming using the law of primal chaos. That's right. Since he had been seen, it was useless to deny it. He might as well admit it. Very good. A sliver of excitement and fanaticism flashed through the chaotic body's eyes. He stared at Lu Ming and said, "Now hand over the primal chaos scripture and cripple your own cultivation. In this world, only I can control the laws of primal chaos. No one else is worthy." The chaotic body's voice was filled with great confidence and pride. In this world, only he could control the laws of primal chaos. No one else was worthy. If there was, they should be killed or crippled. What a joke. Who do you think you are? Lu Ming sneered. How could he agree to cripple his own cultivation, even if the chaotic body's battle prowess was terrifying? If you don't agree, then die. The chaotic body said coldly. His presence became even more powerful. He took a step forward and a violent presence pressed down on Lu Ming. Lu Ming's face changed and he retreated. "Brother Lu Ming." Bubbles called out and stepped forward. She erupted with her presence to help Lu Ming fend off the chaotic body. The laws of spacetime? That's fine too. Let's kill them together. The chaotic body sneered. Bang, bang. At this moment, Huang Ling and Long Chen also stepped forward and stood side by side with Lu Ming. All of you back off. This has nothing to do with you. Lu Ming said. The chaotic body was too strong. Even if they joined forces, they were no match for him. There was no hope at all. The chaotic body was only targeting him. He did not want to implicate Long Chen, Huang Ling and Bubbles. Lu Ming, do you think I'm such a person? Huang Ling glanced at Lu Ming with a determined gaze. Long Chen did not say anything, but his actions spoke volumes. Hee, you're quite loyal. Then I'll kill you all. The chaotic body said coldly and stepped forward. On the side, the others watched coldly. It was good that Lu Ming and the others were killed. In the future, there would be one less great enemy. Chapter 1772. Boom. The chaotic body struck out with a palm. The laws of chaos flowed, forming a huge chaotic hand that grabbed at Lu Ming and the others. The terrifying pressure made everyone's expression change. Without a doubt, the chaotic body's cultivation was at the level of an absolute saint. Moreover, it was the chaotic body. How terrifying was its battle prowess! It was simply unimaginable. Unbeatable. At this moment, Such a sentence appeared in Lu Ming's mind. Only death awaited if they tried to block it head-on. Retreat! Lu Ming roared. The four of them frantically retreated to avoid the power of the palm. Do you think you can escape? The chaotic body said coldly. With a flash, it appeared behind Lu Ming and threw a punch. It was as fast as lightning, so fast that Lu Ming couldn't block it. The difference in their cultivation was just too great. Lu Ming! Huang Ling cried out. Long Chen and Bubbles were also extremely anxious. However, the difference in their cultivation was just too great. Even if they wanted to help, it would be useless. Boom! The chaotic body's fist directly pierced through Lu Ming's body. However, Lu Ming was completely fine. Lu Ming's body was like an illusion. The chaotic body's fist seemed to have hit the air. What's going on? The chaotic body roared and threw another punch. However, it still hit the air. Lu Ming's body was like an illusion. You can't fight here. The white-robed old man said in the sky. I see. Many people's hearts skipped a beat. They couldn't fight here. They couldn't attack each other at all. Huang Ling and Long Chen let out a long breath. They really thought that Lu Ming was about to be killed by the chaotic body. The chaotic body retreated with a cold face. His expression was very ugly. You're lucky, but you'll die at my hands sooner or later. The chaotic body said coldly. You're just relying on your higher cultivation. In the future, I'll definitely kill you. Cold killing intent shot out from Lu Ming's eyes. Only one of them could live in this world. If they met in the future, there would definitely be a tragic battle. There would be no room for negotiation. You're just a fake son of chaos. You'll never be a match for me in your entire life, said the chaotic body proudly. He had the right to be proud. He possessed the chaotic body, a true child of chaos. He was blessed by the heavens and possessed great fortune. As long as he reached half-saint, he would naturally be able to grasp the laws of chaos. And what was Lu Ming? Even if he had grasped the laws of primal chaos, how could he compare to him? He did not possess the chaotic body. Lu Ming didn't say anything else. What was the point of saying anything now? In the future, Lu Ming would use his actions to tell the world who the true son of chaos was. As they continued to wait, more and more people arrived. Before long, there were already more than 2,000 people in the vicinity of the abyss. Previously, there were more than 3,000 people, but now there were only about 2,000 people left. They had lost about 1,000 people. Some of them were killed, while others were sent back to where they came from. At this moment, the white-robed elder waved his hand, and a row of stone platforms appeared at the edge of the abyss, floating in the air. There were more than 2,000 people, about the same number as them. They were lined up side by side. The method to cross the abyss is very simple. Each of you will choose a stone platform and sit on it. Then I will explain the Tao while you comprehend. As you comprehend, the stone platform will float forward. The faster you comprehend and the more you comprehend, the faster the stone platform will float forward. In the end, only the top 100 people can continue to the next step of the test. As for the rest, I will send you back. The white-robed elder explained the rules. What? Only the top 100 people can continue? Someone exclaimed. This ratio was just too low. After all, those who could come here were all prodigies among prodigies. They weren't ordinary cultivators. How could it be easy to stand out among these people? Moreover, everyone understood that what was tested here wasn't battle prowess but comprehension. After all, the prodigies here had a difference in age, background, and cultivation. Comparing battle prowess was meaningless. It was a competition of potential. Comprehension was a part of potential. I'll definitely be in the top 100. I'll definitely be in the top 100. Some of the youths were very confident that they would be able to enter the top 100. Alright, you can go up and choose any stone platform you like. Every stone is the same. The white-robed elder said. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Immediately, someone flew up and landed on a stone platform. Lu Ming and the other three also stepped forward, each chose a stone platform and sat down cross-legged. The stone platforms were very small, only allowing one person. Looking out of the stone platforms, there was a dark abyss below. No one knew how deep it was. Soon, more than 2,000 people all landed on the stone platforms. Alright, I'll begin my Tao preaching now, the white-robed elder said. In the next moment, his body emitted a bright light, and divine rings surrounded him. Then the white-robed elder spoke word by word. Every word was incomparably mysterious. It turned into the sound of the great Tao and entered everyone's ears. Hearing this sound, Lu Ming's spirit seemed to calm down, and he fell into a state of emptiness. The sound of the great Tao continued to enter his ears. The white-robed elder was not talking about any kind of Tao or law. What he was talking about was the truth of heaven and earth, the truth of martial arts, and the truth of the heavenly Tao. This truth could be compatible with any law, and it depended purely on one's comprehension. In Lu Ming's mind, he seemed to see the experience of a peerless powerhouse. From a weak youth, he went on a crusade step by step, and finally rose to become a peak powerhouse. In his mind, the phantom of the primal chaos emperor became even more mysterious. The law of primal chaos flowed, and Lu Ming's comprehension became even clearer. In his dantian, the two sacred hearts kept beating like real hearts. Vigorous sacred power constantly poured out of the sacred hearts and into the meridians of his body. Lu Ming completely forgot about everything in the outside world. He forgot the purpose of his visit and forgot the time. He only had one goal, and that was to cultivate and comprehend. As everyone comprehended, the stone platforms began to fly forward. In the first 3 days, everyone was walking side by side and there was not much of a gap. But from the third day onwards, a gap began to appear. Some people began to fall behind, and some people became faster and faster, surpassing the others. As time passed, the gap between everyone grew bigger and bigger. However, Lu Ming, Bubbles, Huang Ling, and Long Chen were still in the top 100. Bubbles was a real space-time spirit mouse. Needless to say, its comprehension was naturally high. If it fully matured, it would be a peak existence in the world and not many people could rival it. Huang Ling and Long Chen had awakened the bloodlines of the top 10 battle beasts. Needless to say, their comprehension was also terrifying. As for Lu Ming, needless to say. Chapter 1773. In the process of everyone comprehending and cultivating, endless heaven and earth yuan qi poured into their bodies, and everyone's aura was rapidly increasing. Of course, the faster the speed, the greater the benefits of those at the front. Half a month later, Lu Ming's aura swelled. He had broken through. Lu Ming was originally in the Greater Bright Saint realm, but now he had broken through to the peak of the Bright Saint realm. In just half a month, Lu Ming's cultivation had broken through. The speed was shocking. At this time, there were only a few people who could keep pace with Lu Ming. The genius of the Thunder Clan, the chaotic body, and the genius who had mastered the law of death. There were also a few other geniuses who were also very terrifying. They were at the front with Lu Ming and the others. Time passed day by day. A month later, Lu Ming's speed increased again, surpassing the others in one fell swoop and was in the lead. Of course, they were unaware of this. Everyone was wholeheartedly comprehending and cultivating. After Lu Ming was in the lead, he had not been overtaken. Moreover, the gap between him and the people behind was slowly widening. After they cultivated and comprehended for a month and a half, Lu Ming's cultivation made another breakthrough, reaching the Great Bright Saint realm. In just a month and a half, Lu Ming's cultivation had crossed 2 levels. The effect was shocking. This had something to do with Lu Ming's low cultivation. The lower the cultivation, the faster the breakthrough. The higher the cultivation, the more difficult it would be to break through. Reaching the Supreme Saint realm or even the Absolute Saint realm, the breakthrough was much more difficult than reaching the Bright Saint realm. If Lu Ming's cultivation was at the Supreme Saint realm or the Absolute Saint realm, it would not be so easy to break through. Lu Ming's stone platform was getting closer and closer to the other side of the abyss. After another half a month, Lu Ming's stone platform finally reached the other side of the abyss. At this time, the sound of the great Tao in the sky completely disappeared. Wake up! The voice of the white-robed elder was like a morning bell, striking the hearts of everyone. Everyone woke up from their comprehension. Is it over? Someone muttered softly, feeling a bit reluctant to part. In that state of enlightenment, it was just too awesome. Not only were his laws improved, but even his martial arts cultivation was improving by leaps and bounds. It was comparable to several years of bitter cultivation. My cultivation has broken through. My laws have also broken through. Excited voices could be heard one after another. Everyone was the same. The moment they woke up, they felt the changes in their bodies. My cultivation has reached the perfect stage of the bright sacred realm. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Moreover, he was not far away from the great saint stage. The primal chaos calamity finger has also reached 50%. What made Lu Ming even happier was that his primal chaos tribulation finger had also advanced by leaps and bounds, reaching 50% completion. The further one progressed, the more difficult it would be to cultivate. The time required would also increase exponentially. To be able to reach 50% from 40% was already very fast. Moreover, he cultivated the law of primal chaos. After feeling the changes in his body, Lu Ming looked at the others. Oh. With a glance, he found that his stone platform was in first place. Behind him were the chaotic body and the son of death. There were a few other people behind them. Behind them were Long Qin, Huang Ling, Bubbles and the others. While Lu Ming was looking at the others were also looking at each other. However, almost at the same time, everyone looked at Lu Ming. This was because Lu Ming was far in the lead and had reached the other side. It was too eye-catching. It's him, the son of chaos. He's actually in the lead, surpassing the chaotic body and the son of death. It's amazing. I didn't expect him to get first place. I'm finished. I'm behind the 100th place. Above the abyss, voices sounded one after another. Everyone's ranking was clear at a glance. Many people could not help but sigh when they found that they were behind the 100th place. Some people found that they were ranked last and their faces turned even uglier. If they were ranked last, didn't that mean that their comprehension was the worst and their potential was the worst? Brother Lu Ming, you're so amazing. Chirp chirp. Bubbles cried out. She was so excited that she almost danced with joy. Lu Ming smiled and looked at the chaotic body. However, he saw that the chaotic body's gaze was as cold as a sword. Now, who is more qualified to grasp the laws of primal chaos? Lu Ming said indifferently. These words made the chaotic body's face turn even gloomier. Earlier, he had said that Lu Ming was not qualified to grasp the laws of primal chaos. In the world, only he could grasp the laws of primal chaos. How arrogant and insufferably arrogant was he. But now he was surpassed by Lu Ming. Lu Ming led the crowd and was the first to reach the other side. If Lu Ming was not qualified, who was? It's just a competition of comprehension. It doesn't mean anything. Moreover, the time is short. If we continue, I'll definitely be able to surpass you. The chaotic body said coldly. A loss is a loss. Why are you deceiving yourself here? Lu Ming sneered disdainfully. The chaotic body's eyes shone even brighter. It was as if his gaze was about to turn into a sword and pierce through Lu Ming. However, Lu Ming was not afraid at all. He stared back at him. The child of death did not say anything. He only looked at Lu Ming curiously. Alright, now that the top 100 have come out, I'll send the rest back. The white-robed old man said. Many people sighed. They were unwilling to accept this. The white-robed old man waved his hand and a large number of light pillars appeared, enveloping the figures. Then those figures disappeared in the light pillars. There were only 100 people left. The stone platforms that did not reach the other side also flew forward and leaned against the other side. Alright, you can continue. There are still tests waiting for you ahead. If you can pass the test, your harvest will be equally great. Go. The white-robed old man's voice rang out. Then he disappeared. Everyone flew up and stepped onto the other side of the abyss. The chaotic body emitted a powerful aura. He looked at Lu Ming coldly. If he could fight here, he would kill Lu Ming without hesitation. Lu Ming looked at him coldly. With a sneer, the chaotic body rose into the air and flew forward. The others did the same and flew forward. Not long after, a towering mountain appeared in front of them. On the mountain there was an incomparably huge palace. Everyone approached and found that there was a huge stone tablet at the bottom of the mountain. On the stone tablet there were 3 big words, Hunyuan sect. Everyone was solemn. They had arrived at the Hunyuan sect. Behind the stone tablet there was a flight of stairs. No one knew how long it was and how many steps there were. At this moment, the white-robed old man appeared again and said, "This is the mountain gate of the Hunyuan sect. If you want to go up, you must follow the stairs step by step. This is respect for the Hunyuan sect. If there is anyone who is disrespectful, I will send him back. You can go up." Chapter 1774. As soon as the white-robed old man finished speaking, his figure disappeared. Everyone stepped forward and stepped onto the stairs. Lu Ming and the other 3 also stepped onto the stairs respectively. The stairs were nothing out of the ordinary. To them it was like a flat ground. If they used their movement techniques, they would be able to reach the top of the mountain in a few steps. However, everyone remembered the white-robed old man's words. They had to step up step by step. Otherwise they would be eliminated. Lu Ming and the others walked up step by step unhurriedly. However, the stairs were really very tall. There were at least 100,000 steps. They had walked continuously for a few hours and had only stepped a small part of it. Why do we need to take one step at a time on such an ordinary staircase? At that moment, a young man snorted coldly. He seemed to be a little impatient. Then he took a step forward and crossed over 10,000 steps in an instant. He was far ahead of the others. "You idiots, take your time. I'll go first. The young man's face was filled with joy. He looked at the others with disdain. Then he took another step forward and crossed over 10,000 steps. However, this time before he could be happy, a beam of light suddenly appeared and shrouded him. No, that person shouted. In the next moment, his figure disappeared as he was teleported out. You think you're smart? You're the idiot. Someone sneered. Next, no one dared to imitate that young man. They all climbed up step by step. If it was an ordinary person, they might not be able to climb more than 100,000 steps in 10 days. However, it was not too difficult for them. A little more than a day later, they stepped onto the top of the mountain. At the top of the mountain, there was a magnificent palace. At a glance, it was impossible to see the end of it. They appeared on a broad piece of land. In front of them was the door of a palace. At that moment, the door was open. Everyone pondered for a moment and stepped into the palace. They walked along a passage and finally arrived at a strange place. The first thing that came into view was a few hundred stone pillars. There was a strange fluctuation coming from the stone pillars. In front of the stone pillars was a huge battle platform. At that moment, the white-robed old man's figure appeared again. Didn't you want to fight? Now I'll give you a chance to fight. The white-robed old man's voice rang out. These words caused many people's eyes to burst with a bright light. In particular, the chaotic body looked at Lu Ming with an extremely cold gaze and a vicious smile. Now let's see how you'll die. The chaotic body murmured. However, Lu Ming remained calm. He didn't believe that there would be no restrictions. If that was the case, there would be no need for them to compete. They could just go back. No one in the Bright Saint stage could fight against the Saint stage cultivator, not to mention that the other party was a rare genius. As expected, the white-robed old man's voice rang out again. However, this battle must be fair. I will seal your true origin and seal your cultivation at the Bright Saint small success stage. Moreover, the strength of your saint energy will be the same. On top of that, I'll seal off all your rules, martial arts, martial skills and spiritual bodies so everyone will be on the same level. Many people's expressions changed. According to what the white-robed elder had said, almost all of their means had been sealed, and their saint powers were the same. How could they compete? Do you see those stone pillars? There's a secret technique on each stone pillar. Later on, you can choose a stone pillar and comprehend the secret technique on it. I'll give you half a month. After half a month, your battle techniques will depend on the secret technique that you've comprehended on the stone pillars. The white-robed elder continued to explain. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Indeed, this was the fairest way. Everyone would be sealed at the same level and then rely on the secret technique that they had comprehended on the stone pillars to fight against their opponents. The harvest in this half a month would directly determine one's combat strength. At this moment, the white-robed elder emitted a mysterious fluctuation. Then a force surged into everyone's body. This force was high and mighty and they couldn't resist it. It directly sealed everything that they had. My saint energy is really only at the Bright Saint small success stage. You can't use your laws either. You can't use your divine abilities or martial skills either. My spiritual body is only equivalent to an inferior heaven spiritual body. Voices rang out. Everyone realized that they had really been sealed. Other than the Bright Saint small success stage saint energy, they couldn't use anything else. Only one of my saint hearts can operate. Lu Ming was secretly shocked. This white-robed elder was definitely an unimaginable existence. Although he was just a projection, his methods were hard to predict. Then the elder waved his hand, and various kinds of auras erupted from the stone pillars. There were soaring sword will, dazzling saber radiance, fist technique aura, palm technique aura. There were all kinds of auras. Everyone's eyes lit up. In such a competition, the choice of secret technique would be very particular. Choosing a secret technique that one was familiar with, one would naturally have to be faster to comprehend it. Only then would one have the upper hand in the battle half a month later. There were two main aspects to this battle. The first aspect was naturally the comprehension that one had gained in the past half a month. The second aspect was one's combat awareness. The stronger one's combat awareness was, the more likely one would be to win against someone of the same cultivation level. Don't worry and comprehend on the stone pillars. No one is to disturb you. The white-robed old man added, telling everyone to relax and not to worry about being attacked by others during the process of comprehending. Swoosh. A young man leaped onto a stone platform that was filled with sword will and sat down cross-legged. That stone platform belongs to me. Then, another person leaped onto a stone platform that was filled with saber technique aura. Of course, There was more than one stone platform that was filled with sword will or saber technique aura. Lu Ming and the other three also leaped onto the stone platforms to search for suitable secret techniques. Lu Ming leaped onto a stone platform that was filled with terrifying spear will. Since he started cultivating, he had spent the longest time cultivating spear techniques and had the deepest understanding of spear techniques. Choosing a stone platform that was filled with spear will would give him the most benefits. Lu Ming immediately sat down cross-legged. The stone platform glowed and a light screen enveloped him. No one could disturb him. Coiling Dragon's Spear. When Lu Ming closed his eyes, a voice rang in Lu Ming's mind. Then the surrounding environment changed. Lu Ming seemed to have come to a vast land. In the sky, a figure was flying and dancing. The long spear in his hand danced like a true dragon. Lu Ming observed carefully. An hour later, Lu Ming seemed to have understood something. He condensed a long spear in his hand and began to practice. Whoosh whoosh, the long spear danced like a true dragon. The wind whistled and the power was astonishing. After cultivating for a while, Lu Ming stopped and continued to observe the figure in the sky. Chapter 1775. Half a month passed in the blink of an eye, and the figure wielding the spear in the sky disappeared. Wake up! A voice rang in Lu Ming's ears. Lu Ming shuddered and retreated from the vast land. He opened his eyes. Everyone was the same, stopping their cultivation. Half a month has passed. The duel will begin now. The duel is simple. 100 of you will step onto the battle platform at the same time and engage in a melee. Those who fall off the platform or are killed will be eliminated. The last 20 people standing on the platform will advance to the next round. The white-robed elder announced the rules. Many people's eyes flickered. Only 20 out of 100 people could advance. Moreover, it would be a melee which was much more complicated. Now let's begin. The white-robed elder announced. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. One figure after another rushed onto the platform. The platform was huge. It was spacious even when 100 people stepped on it. The 100 people stood on their own and looked around cautiously. It was a melee. Everyone was an enemy. For a moment, no one made a move. The best choice now was to wait for others to fight while they reserved their strength and reaped the benefits. The atmosphere became heavy. The white-robed elder was not in a hurry. He watched quietly. Bang! The sound of a foot stepping on the platform was heard. The chaotic body looked at Lu Ming with undisguised cold-killing intent. Kid, I'll kill you now. The chaotic body walked towards Lu Ming step by step. You're the one who's going to die. Lu Ming's eyes were filled with strong battle intent. Saint Force surged in his hand and condensed into a spear. He also stepped out and walked towards the chaotic body. Lu Ming was not afraid of anyone at the same level. Boom. Before Lu Ming and the chaotic body could fight, the battle had already begun on the other side. Even though the Death Sun was suppressed, he was still very powerful. He took the lead and attacked a genius. He completely suppressed his opponent. In just a few moves, his opponent coughed out blood and was blasted off the platform. After being blasted off the platform, the youth was shrouded in a beam of light and left the place. This caused many people to look extremely solemn. Apparently, the Son of Death's comprehension was amazing. In just half a month, he had cultivated a secret technique to an extremely profound level. Moreover, the Son of Death's battle awareness was astonishing, completely crushing the previous genius. The Son of Death's attack broke the deadlock, and the others followed suit. A chaotic battle broke out at this moment. Some people charged towards Long Qin, Huang Ling and Bubble. Mountain suppressing fist kill. At this moment, the Son of Chaos arrived in front of Lu Ming and punched out. The fist energy erupted, forming a huge mountain that pressed down on Lu Ming. This was a secret technique that the Son of Chaos had comprehended during this half a month. It was a type of fist technique. Once the might of his fist was unleashed, it would form a huge mountain that crushed down on the enemy. Its aura was shocking and incomparably domineering. With a dragon's roar, Lu Ming pierced out with the spear in his hand. The spear immediately transformed into a true dragon and pounced out. The dragon's claws stepped on the air and bombarded the mountain. Boom! With a terrifying explosion, the true dragon and the mountain both exploded. Terrifying strength chi spilled out in all directions, causing the expressions of the people around to become extremely grave. What a powerful force! Many people exclaimed at the side. Lu Ming had just exchanged a move with the Son of Chaos, and its power had already surpassed many people. Kill? The Son of Chaos roared. His aura was extremely domineering as he punched out with both fists continuously with an indomitable aura. Boom, boom, boom. The sky was boiling. Many huge mountains were formed, pressing toward Lu Ming. Buzz. The spear in Lu Ming's hand trembled and turned into rays of spear light that shot out explosively. The spear light formed true dragons in the air, roaring as they charged forward and collided with the mountains constantly. Terrifying strength chi spilled out in all directions. In the area where the two of them were fighting, the others hurriedly retreated, afraid of being implicated. The two of them were fated enemies and a battle of life and death was inevitable. In the blink of an eye, the two of them had already exchanged over 100 moves. The Son of Chaos was indeed terrifying. In just half a month, he had already cultivated a secret technique to an extremely profound level. Moreover, his battle awareness was very strong. Every move was terrifyingly powerful. Even at the same level, others could not block more than a few moves. The more they fought, the more intense it became. At this point, the two of them had basically turned into blurs as they constantly clashed on the stage. Lu Ming's eyes shone resplendently as he constantly stabbed out with his spear. The more they fought, the deeper his comprehension of the coiling dragon spear became. At this moment he slowly began to gain the upper hand. The Son of Chaos roared and fought with all his might, but he could not change this. He began to be suppressed by Lu Ming. He was unable to accept this and his face became extremely ugly. Swish, swish, swish. The spear in Lu Ming's hand seemed to turn into a streak of light. It moved faster and faster as it became more and more powerful. Often, a single sweep of the spear would be enough to break through the Son of Chaos's attacks. When the spear stabbed out, it was aimed at the Son of Chaos's vitals, forcing him to dodge. The Son of Chaos began to retreat to the edge of the stage. The Son of Chaos is about to lose. Many people glanced at this scene from the corner of their eyes and were shocked. The Son of Chaos was actually no match for someone of the same level. Of course, this so-called battle of the same level was not a true battle of the same level. The Son of Chaos could not even use the advantage of his physique. However, this was enough to demonstrate just how terrifying Lu Ming was. He did not possess the Son of Chaos, but he could comprehend the laws of chaos. His comprehension ability was truly astonishing. This thought flashed through many people's minds. The Son of Chaos is only SOSO. You only know how to use your higher cultivation to suppress others. Who do you think you are in a battle of the same level? Lu Ming's mocking voice made the Son of Chaos's face sink even more. Due to a moment of carelessness, he was swept by Lu Ming's spear. A wound appeared on his body as blood flowed. Gradually, the Son of Chaos retreated to the edge of the stage. If he retreated any further, he would fall off. Everyone, why don't we work together and knock this Lu Ming off the stage? This person was ranked first in the abyss before. His comprehension ability is astonishing. If this continues, no one will be able to match him. At this moment, the Son of Chaos roared. He actually wanted the others to work with him. For this, he even said that Lu Ming's comprehension ability was astonishing. Previously, he was high and mighty, believing himself to be the true Son of Chaos. He looked down on Lu Ming, but now he was praising Lu Ming. This made him feel extremely humiliated. However, in order to defeat Lu Ming and eliminate Lu Ming, he could only do this. Immediately, the eyes of a few powerful prodigies flickered. Indeed, although Lu Ming's cultivation was not high, his potential was astonishing. When he was ranked first in the abyss before, he had attracted the attention of many prodigies. Now, in a battle of the same level, he could suppress the Son of Chaos. If this continued, no one would be his match. These prodigies had all come for the Hunyuan sect's legacy, so they naturally wanted to be first. They did not wish to be suppressed. Swish. A white-robed young man repelled his opponent with a single move and charged towards Lu Ming. Chapter 1776. The white-robed young man was as fast as lightning. In an instant he charged towards Lu Ming. A snow-white sword light shone from his hand, enveloping Lu Ming. This person was very powerful. Lu Ming had to be careful. With a tremble of his spear, it turned into streaks of light and stabbed out. Ding, ding, ding. A series of collisions rang out. The white-robed young man was slightly pushed back, blocked by Lu Ming. However, this gave the chaotic body a chance to catch his breath. With a roar, he constantly threw out punches towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming swept out with his spear, blocking the attack. However, on the other side, the white-robed young man charged towards Lu Ming again. Despicable. Nearby, Huang Ling cried out with her eyes wide open. The chaotic body was truly despicable. Earlier he had acted all high and mighty. Now that he could not defeat Lu Ming, he sought help from others. Huang Ling had previously cultivated a palm technique. When she struck out with her palm, she produced terrifying flames that forced her opponent back. Huang Ling attacked with all her might. The force of her palm was unstoppable. She did not give her opponent any chance to catch his breath. On the other side, Long Chen had also completely suppressed his opponent. He cultivated a fist technique. Every punch he sent out was unstoppable. It was no weaker than the chaotic body. His opponent was also being suppressed and forced to retreat. Bastard, get down. I'm going to help brother Lu Ming. Chirp. Bubble's speed was extremely shocking. She circled around a young prodigy like a streak of light. With a flick of her fingers, terrifying wind blades constantly shot towards her opponent. Her opponent was in an extremely sorry state. He was covered in wounds and blood flowed. The young man simply wanted to roar at the sky. He was extremely frustrated. As a prodigy, he was usually high and mighty. No matter where he went, he would be surrounded. However, he had now been forced into such a state by a 2- or 3-year-old girl. It was truly humiliating. Soon he was struck by one of Bubble's wind blades. He spat out a mouthful of blood and was blasted off the stage. "Brother Lu Ming, let me help you," Bubble exclaimed, and her figure flickered as she charged towards Lu Ming. She flicked her fingers and wind blades flew out to block the white rogue youth's attack. The white rogue youth's expression turned cold. Sword light erupted, and dense sword chi slashed at the Bubble. Bubbles flicked her fingers continuously, forming countless wind blades to resist the opponent. When the white rogue youth had crossed the dark abyss, he had been in the same group as Bubble. His talent might not have been greater than Bubble's, and now that they were engaged in an intense battle, he could only fight to a draw with Bubble. Get out. With one less opponent, Lu Ming focused all his attention on the chaotic body. With a sweep of his spear, he directly destroyed the opponent's attack and almost sent the chaotic body flying. Whoosh, whoosh. Afterwards, Lu Ming launched a barrage of attacks at the chaotic body. The terrifying blurs of the spear completely drowned out his opponent. Bang. After a few moves, the chaotic body was struck by Lu Ming's spear. He vomited blood and staggered a few steps back, almost falling off the stage. Kill? Kill. At this moment, 2 more roars rang out. 2 prodigies charged at Lu Ming and launched terrifying attacks at Lu Ming. Clearly they wanted to work together and defeat Lu Ming first. But at this moment 2 figures charged out and blocked the 2 of them. They were Huang Ling and Long Chen. They had defeated their opponents and had come to assist Lu Ming. No one can help you. Get out. Lu Ming took advantage of the situation to launch a barrage of attacks. Although the chaotic body tried its best to block, it was struck by Lu Ming's spear after a dozen moves. The sound of bones breaking rang out as the chaotic body was sent flying out of the stage. Lu Ming is outside. Don't let me see you or I'll make you suffer a fate worse than death. The chaotic body roared furiously. His voice was filled with reluctance. He was the mighty chaotic body, yet he had been eliminated before he could reach the end. Moreover, the person who had eliminated him was his destined enemy. Outside, I'll kill you. Lu Ming's reply was very simple. A pillar of light formed and enveloped the chaotic body. Under his unwilling gaze he was sent out. He felt extremely aggrieved. He possessed great cultivation and terrifying battle prowess, but he was unable to use them at all. Under such circumstances, he had been defeated by Lu Ming. If he could use his full strength, he could kill Lu Ming with a single slap. Many people were shocked. The chaotic body, known as one of the Elysian children, had been defeated by Lu Ming just like that. Although this kind of defeat was under the circumstances of completely suppressing some mystiques and spirit bodies, it was enough to explain a lot of problems. Although Lu Ming did not possess the true chaotic body, it was still unknown who would emerge victorious in this fated battle regarding the law of chaos. Retreat. The white robe young man was surprised when he saw the chaotic body being struck off the stage. He quickly retreated. You want to retreat now? It's too late. Lu Ming's cold voice rang out. He took a few steps forward and blocked his opponent's path of retreat. He stabbed out with his spear. With Lu Ming and Bubbles working together, the opponent could not resist at all. In just a few moves he was heavily injured and was struck off the stage. Next, Lu Ming and Bubbles turned their attention to the other 2 people who were fighting Huang Ling and Long Chen. With the 4 of them working together, the result was already decided. The other 2 were also struck off the stage. One by one they were eliminated. At this moment, more than 50 people had been eliminated. There were less than 50 people left on the stage. Many people looked at Lu Ming's group of 4 with ugly expressions. If Lu Ming's group of 4 worked together, no one would be able to defeat them. However, Lu Ming's group of 4 did not fight. They just stood together and watched the others fight calmly. No one else dared to provoke Lu Ming's group. The battle continued and people were constantly being eliminated. In the blink of an eye, a few hours had passed. When a tall, burly young man was struck off the stage, there were only 20 people left on the stage. The 20 people stood in different directions watching the others. The Death Sun was also among them. With his combat strength, as long as he was not besieged by many people, it would not be difficult for him to stay until the end. Well, the 20 of you have advanced to the next stage. Next there is one last stage. If you can pass it, you can get your opportunity. The white-robed elder said. With a wave of his hand, a bridge was formed, extending from the stage to the front. There was a light door there. Everyone stepped out, walked along the bridge and walked into the light door. When Lu Ming stepped into the light door, he felt dizzy. His vision turned black and his consciousness was blurred. After a long time, Lu Ming regained consciousness. It hurts, it hurts. The first thing Lu Ming felt when he woke up was pain. It was as if all the bones in his body were broken. There was a constant tearing pain coming from all over his body. Lu Ming opened his eyes with difficulty. Then he saw a petite, cute face blinking her big eyes looking at him. It was a very cute girl about 13 or 14 years old. She was dressed in coarse clothes and she looked at Lu Ming curiously. Seeing Lu Ming open his eyes, the girl's face lit up. She cried out, he's awake, big brother is awake. Chapter 1777. After the young lady ran out, Lu Ming then started to look around. It was a stone house with walls made of stone. There was nothing in the room except for a bed and a table. It was very simple. Where am I? Lu Ming was puzzled. He remembered that he was taking the test in the Hunyuan sect and finally stepped into a light door and lost consciousness. How did he appear here when he woke up? Could this be the final test? But what was this test about? Lu Ming looked at himself and saw that he was covered in bandages. He was even more speechless. He was sure that he was injured and seriously injured. All the bones in his body were broken, and his muscles were severely injured. Bursts of stinging pain came constantly. Moreover, Lu Ming found that there was not a trace of saint power in his body. He could not summon it, let alone control the laws. He was now an ordinary person who was seriously injured. Is this really the last test? Lu Ming was quite speechless. At this time, footsteps sounded and a few people came in. It was a tall and sturdy middle-aged man. His exposed arms were extremely thick and strong, and they were covered with scars. Beside him was a middle-aged woman. Behind them was the cute girl from before. Little brother, you're finally awake. You've been unconscious for 3 days and 3 nights. The middle-aged man said in a deep voice. 3 days and 3 nights? Lu Ming was even more confused. He had no recollection of this. Big brother, what exactly happened to me? How did I get so seriously injured? Lu Ming asked. Since he was not sure, he might as well ask and maybe find some clues. My father was hunting in the Beast God Mountain range and found you. At that time, you were already seriously injured and unconscious. You must have been attacked by fierce beasts. You are really brave to dare to go to the Beast God Mountain range alone. The girl said before the middle-aged man could speak. Beast God Mountain range? Lu Ming was confused. He had no recollection of this. Maybe this was arranged by the white-robed old man. Maybe this was just an illusion. This should be the last test, but what was the test about? Lu Ming was very puzzled. He did not understand why such an arrangement was made. Little brother, rest assured and recuperate. Your injuries are too severe. It will take a long time for you to fully recover. If you need anything in the future, just let me know. The middle-aged man said straightforwardly and generously. Thank you, big brother, for saving my life. I will never forget it. Lu Ming wanted to cup his fists, but as soon as he moved his hands, he pulled at his wounds. A tearing pain came, causing him to suck in a breath of cold air. Little brother, don't move. Just focus on recuperating. The middle-aged man smiled. After that, the middle-aged man and the middle-aged woman left. The young girl brought a bowl of medicine from outside and fed it to Lu Ming. What's your name? Lu Ming asked. My name is Xiahua. My father is Jianghu. Big brother, what's your name? Xiahua blinked her eyes as she looked at Lu Ming. She was still very curious as to why Lu Ming would go to the Beast God Mountain range alone. That was a very dangerous place. I'm Lu Ming. Lu Ming said. Lu Ming? I'll call you Big Brother Lu. I'll call you Daddy separately. I don't want to call you Uncle. You don't look old. Xiahua mumbled. It's fine. Lu Ming smiled. Next, Lu Ming recuperated here. As the days passed, Lu Ming's injuries slowly improved. Half a month later, Lu Ming could get out of bed and walk. In front of the stone house, Lu Ming leaned against the wall and looked around. There were many stone houses in this area. Lu Ming learned that this was a tribe. There were not many people in this tribe, only a little more than 1,000. They were very simple and lived by hunting. Lu Ming felt as if he had returned to the ancient times. What surprised Lu Ming was that the people in the tribe were very strong. The adult men's strength was comparable to a first-layer martial emperor expert. Some of them were even stronger and had reached the Saint Realm, such as Xiaohua's father, Jianghu. There was a hunting team in the tribe that often went out to hunt. Last time, Lu Ming was found by the hunting team in the Beast God Mountain range. In the beginning, Lu Ming tried his best to find out more about this place. He wanted to find out what his assessment was. However, as the days passed, Lu Ming seemed to have integrated into the tribe and almost forgot about the trial. "Brother Lu, get up. This bottle of wine is for you. I brewed it with 18 kinds of herbs. It's very nourishing for your body. It'll help you recover." A white-haired old man with a bottle of wine came to Lu Ming and said with a smile, "Thank you, Uncle Li." Lu Ming took it and thanked him with a smile. "Ah, you're welcome. You should recover soon." The old man laughed and left the place. Then the people of the tribe brought Lu Ming the meat of fierce beasts to Lu Ming to nourish his body. The people of the tribe were very simple. This kind of thing happened quite often. Lu Ming gradually integrated into the tribe. In the blink of an eye, another half a month had passed. Lu Ming's injuries were about 70 to 80% better. At this time, a trace of Saint Force finally appeared in his body. Lu Ming was overjoyed. With his Saint Force recovered, he would be able to protect himself and go further to find out what the trial was about. Time flew. In the blink of an eye, Lu Ming had stayed in the tribe for 2 months. Now his injuries had fully recovered. However, what surprised Lu Ming was that his cultivation had not fully recovered. He was now in the same state as when he was fighting in the fighting ring. His cultivation and the power of law were all sealed. He could only use the coiling dragon spear now. The strength of his Saint Force was still at the lesser Bright Saint Realm. It's been 2 months. What is the trial this time? Lu Ming frowned and could not figure it out. Dong, dong, dong. Suddenly, a deafening roar sounded in the tribe. It was the sound of war drums. "The devil is here. The devil is here. Prepare to meet the enemy." A loud roar reverberated throughout the tribe. "The devil is here." Xiaohua's little face was a little pale. "What is a devil?" Lu Ming asked. "Devil, three-eyed devil. I've heard that these devils have been wreaking havoc in other territories. I didn't expect them to come here." Xiaohua's little face was pale, but she still gritted her teeth and rushed out with a big bow. Lu Ming also rushed out. As soon as they rushed out, Lu Ming saw tall and burly figures in the sky. These figures were covered in black scales and had an eye between their eyebrows. Three-eyed God tribe. Lu Ming was shocked. This was clearly the three-eyed God tribe. Lu Ming had seen them several times. Kill these ants. Chapter 1778. Kill. Thunderous roars were heard as the three-eyed divine tribe members descended from the sky and launched their terrifying attacks at the tribe. Block it. Some of the experts in the tribe held their bows and shot out terrifying arrows to block the attacks. "You're courting death." A cold voice was heard as a burly three-eyed divine tribe member stretched out his hand and made a grabbing motion. A giant hand was formed and grabbed at the tribe. Block it. The strongest force in the tribe was the hunting team. They stomped on the ground and soared into the sky. All kinds of weapons were used to slash at the giant hand. Oh no. Lu Ming was shocked. The three-eyed divine tribe member who had stretched out his giant hand had reached the Great Sage Realm. The strongest expert in the tribe was equivalent to a Great Sage Realm expert. It was impossible for them to block the attack. Sure enough, when the experts attacked the giant hand, their bodies shook violently and they spat out blood. They were blasted to the ground. Boom. The gigantic hand continued to descend, grabbing a few experts from the tribe. With a squeeze, those experts were crushed to death. "Retreat, retreat." An expert in the tribe shouted. The other party was too strong. With the strength of the tribe, they were no match for them. If they continued to fight, they would be killed. "None of you can escape. Surround them." The great sage three-eyed divine tribe members shouted coldly. Figures flashed in the sky, and more three-eyed divine tribe members appeared, surrounding the tribe. More people stepped out and rushed into the tribe. Their auras were strong. Some of them were at the Saint Realm, while many others were at the high-level martial royal realm and the half-saint realm. Buff, buff. The three-eyed divine tribe members held battle axes and slashed out. The tribesmen were killed one by one. The smell of blood filled the air. Swoosh, swoosh. The three-eyed god race's third eye shot out terrifying beams of destructive light. None of the tribesmen could block them. One by one the tribesmen were pierced through and killed. The simple and peaceful tribe instantly turned into a hell on earth. My cultivation, my battle prowess. Lu Ming's eyes were about to burst. The saint energy in his body was frantically circulating. However, he could only unleash the strength of a luminous saint. He condensed a long spear and threw it out, killing a few third-stage three-eyed god tribe members. However, there were too many three-eyed divine race members, so it was useless. The tribe fell into a chaotic battle. Kill. Xia, who seemed to have really turned into a ferocious tiger. With a saber in hand, the saber was like a rainbow as it cut down two three-eyed saints in a row. You're courting death. The great sage three-eyed god race member stared at Jianghu and punched him, sending him flying. At the same time, a destructive beam of light shot out from between his eyebrows and blew off one of Jianghu's arms. Father. Jianghu shouted anxiously. Kill? Jianghu wielded his saber with only one arm and charged toward his opponent. However, the light of destruction continued to burst forth from his opponent's eyes. The difference in strength between the two sides was too great. Jianghu fought back with all his might, blocking the two beams of destruction light. But in the end, his saber shattered, and his body was torn apart by the destruction light. He died on the spot. Father. Jianghu cried out miserably. Damn it. Lu Ming roared in his heart. Jianghu had brought him back from the Beast God Mountain and helped him heal his injuries. He was a very simple person. In the past 2 months, Lu Ming had already treated Jianghu as a friend and family member. But now Jianghu had died in front of Lu Ming. Mother, don't! Jianghu shouted again. At this time, Jianghu's mother held a sharp saber and pounced toward the three-eyed divine race member. However, in the next moment, a destructive beam swept over and killed Jianghu's mother. Mother! Jianghu shouted. Her eyes were bloodshot. She threw away the longbow, pulled out the long sword on her back and rushed over. Jianghu, don't go! Lu Ming shouted and chased after Jianghu. Die, aunt! A bright saint three-eyed divine race member appeared in front of Jianghu and slashed at her with his axe. Lu Ming was shocked. He rushed in front of Jianghu like lightning and swept out his spear, colliding with the other party's battle axe. With a loud explosion, Lu Ming's body trembled and he retreated. And the other party was also repelled by Lu Ming. I can't use any means, not even the laws. I can't use much battle strength at all. Lu Ming was burning with anxiety. Kid, die. The three-eyed divine race member charged toward Lu Ming again. Lu Ming held his spear and fought with the other party. At this time, Jianghu rushed forward again. Jianghu, don't die for nothing. Lu Ming forced the other party back with his spear and pulled Jianghu back. Big brother Lu, leave quickly. My parents are gone. What's the point of me living in this world? Jianghu said miserably. Live on and take revenge for them. Lu Ming shouted, causing Jianghu's body to tremble. Revenge? Dream on, all of you, die. A total of 2 three-eyed divine race members charged toward Lu Ming. They were both bright sage realm cultivators, and one of them was even a great success bright sage. The light of destruction was constantly shot toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming held his spear and tried his best to resist. But Lu Ming's current strength was really limited. In a few moves he was forced to retreat again and again, spitting out a mouthful of blood. At this time the entire tribe was completely immersed in blood and fire. Lu Ming saw familiar people in the tribe being killed by the three-eyed divine race members. Some of them didn't even have a corpse left. Lu Ming saw Uncle Li, who often delivered medicinal wine to him, being cleaved in half by a three-eyed divine race member with an axe. Lu Ming saw the simple uncle who often delivered beast meat to Lu Ming was beheaded by a three-eyed divine race member. These three-eyed divine race members were really devils. Lu Ming felt that the blood in his body was boiling, as if it was going to turn into a flame and burn fiercely. An extremely cold murderous intent erupted from Lu Ming's body. Die, kid. The 2 three-eyed divine race members charged toward Lu Ming again. Lu Ming stood in front of Jianghu to protect her, not retreating at all. But there were too many three-eyed divine race members. Behind them, more three-eyed divine race members charged toward them. Big brother Lu, if you can leave, then leave quickly. Don't worry about me. Xiahua shouted as a few drops of tears fell from her eyes. She turned around and pounced toward a three-eyed divine race member with a battle sword in her hand. Don't! Lu Ming wanted to shout, but he realized that his throat seemed to be stuck. He couldn't roar out no matter how hard he tried. Snowflakes flew in all directions. A teenage girl was like a tender flower that withered just like that. Brr. Lu Ming let out a beast-like roar from his throat. His eyes were blood-red and a terrifying murderous intent was emitted from his body. At this time the entire tribe was almost wiped out. There weren't many people left. Kill them all, don't leave a single one alive. Someone shouted as if he was really slaughtering some ants. Boom. Chapter 1779. Lu Ming felt his blood burning, breaking through the shackles in his body. His aura surged crazily. At first it was Bright Saint Small Completion. In an instant, it rushed to Bright Saint Great Completion. Then it reached Bright Saint Peak and Great Circle before stopping. The seal in Lu Ming's body was broken. His combat strength was restored in an instant. In front of him, the two experts from the three-eyed divine tribe had a change in expression. Then they roared and charged towards Lu Ming. Die! Lu Ming roared. The divine sword art spread out along with the sound waves and blasted into the bodies of the two experts. The two bright saints from the three-eyed divine tribe suddenly stiffened. Their eyes were filled with disbelief. Then the light in their eyes dimmed and their bodies fell softly to the ground. Their souls had been destroyed by Lu Ming. With a loud roar, he killed two bright saints and attracted the attention of the other three-eyed divine tribe members. Kill him! The Great Saint Realm three-eyed divine tribe member shouted. Suddenly, more than a dozen three-eyed divine tribe members rushed towards Lu Ming. Kill! Lu Ming's eyes were filled with killing intent. Cold killing intent spread out. Using the divine sword art, his soul pulsed and formed a terrifying attack. Previously, Lu Ming had broken through consecutively and reached Great Circle of the Bright Saint Realm. Naturally, his soul power had also increased. Compared to before, it had increased by a lot. The power of the divine sword art was shocking. The dozen three-eyed divine tribe members who rushed towards Lu Ming were the same as the previous two. Their bodies stiffened and their souls were destroyed. They fell to the ground. The Great Saint Realm three-eyed divine tribe members' face changed drastically. Kill! He stepped into the air and the third eye between his eyebrows shot out a ray of destructive light. It emitted a terrifying fluctuation and charged towards Lu Ming. Primal Chaos Calamity Finger. The law of primal chaos circulated. Lu Ming pointed out with his finger. This finger was used by Lu Ming. 50% of the primal chaos calamity finger was terrifying beyond imagination. A huge finger appeared which looked like the finger of a god. Then it pointed toward the three-eyed god cultivator. The destructive light of the god cultivator was instantly destroyed by the primal chaos tribulation finger. However, the finger didn't stop there. Instead, it moved with lightning-like speed, appearing right in front of the three-eyed god cultivator in an instant. The terrifying power caused the three-eyed sect master's expression to change drastically. With a roar, he continuously slashed out with the battle axe in his hand. At the same time he set up layers of defenses around his body. But it was useless. As soon as the primal chaos tribulation finger touched him, the battle axe in his hand exploded, and his defenses shattered like tofu. No! He only had time to let out a loud roar before his burly body was reduced to ashes by the primal chaos tribulation finger. Commander! The other members of the three-eyed god tribe turned pale with fright. Their commander was a great sage, but he was killed in a single move. Kill! Lu Ming roared, his killing intent surging like a tide. His body glowed, and from each point of light, a saint weapon flew out. The moment these saint weapons flew out, they transformed into streams of death and shot towards the three-eyed divine race. Lu Ming showed no mercy to the three-eyed divine race. There was only one word for him to say: kill. With Lu Ming's current cultivation level, no one below the Great Sage Realm could withstand a single blow, and he could easily kill them. More than 100 saint weapons turned into more than 100 streams of light and rushed out. A three-eyed divine race member or even 2 or 3 of them were killed. Large groups of three-eyed divine race members fell down. Retreat, retreat. Quick, call the general's vanguard to come and kill this man. The three-eyed divine race members were afraid, and many of them frantically retreated. Today none of you will be able to leave, Lu Ming said coldly as he transformed into the god of death. He stood in the air and a dragon's roar could be heard from his body. Devouring power erupted and shrouded the entire tribe, including all the members of the three-eyed divine tribe. Those three-eyed divine race members who were below the saint realm screamed in horror. Their bodies withered at a visible speed, and in the end they turned into dried corpses. As for those saint realm experts, although they were not devoured into dried corpses, their bodies were greatly affected by the devouring power, and they could not move. What awaited them was Lu Ming's merciless slaughter. The saint weapons danced, and the three-eyed divine race members were killed one by one. Not long after, the three-eyed divine race members who came this time were basically all dead, and their corpses covered the ground of the tribe. Lu Ming left only one person alive, knocking him out and putting him into the mountain and river diagram. In the entire tribe, there were only a few dozen people who stood there in a daze. These were the few survivors of the tribe. Lu Ming clenched his fists. It was too tragic, and he hated the fact that he broke through the shackles too slowly. If he had been faster, Xiaohu, Xiaohua, Uncle Li, and the others would not have died. Sigh. A sigh filled with sorrow spread throughout the tribe. This was an old man who was lucky enough to survive. He was an elder of the tribe. Elder Lu, where do you plan to go next? Lu Ming came to Elder Lu's side and asked. Now, the three-eyed evil demon has broken through the void and invaded the heavenly world. I heard that a large area of the heavenly world has been invaded. We plan to bury our tribesmen first, and then seek refuge with the big tribes. Elder Lu said. These words moved Lu Ming's heart. Elder Lu, how many years has it been since the three-eyed evil demon invaded the heavenly world? Lu Ming asked. About several hundred years. I heard that countless experts of the heavenly world have been killed in battle with the three-eyed evil demon. Now, a large area of the heavenly world has been invaded. Sigh, this is a disaster. Elder Lu sighed. Countless thoughts appeared in Lu Ming's mind. According to his understanding, the three-eyed divine race had invaded the heavenly world for countless years, but now only a few hundred years had passed. Perhaps all of this was fake, a projection of the ancient times. Whether it's real or fake, in my heart, all of this is real. Lu Ming muttered in his heart, and then buried the tribesmen with the remaining tribesmen. Little brother Lu, come with us and seek refuge with the big tribes. After the burial, Elder Lu said. Lu Ming shook his head, saying, I'm not going. You guys go, I still have things to do. Elder Lu shook his head and did not try to persuade him. He bid farewell and left with the rest of the tribesmen. Lu Ming stood alone in front of the great tomb. After a long time, Lu Ming took out a jug of wine and poured it on the ground, saying, whether this is real or fake, a projection of the ancient times, or it really happened, I will avenge all of you. There are things that a man should do and things that he should not do. Then Lu Ming waved his hand, and the three-eyed divine race tribesmen that he kept in the mountain river diagram appeared in front of the great tomb. He had already woken up, and he looked at Lu Ming in fear. Speak, where are your other troops? Lu Ming asked coldly. You want to find our vanguard troops? You're courting death. The general of our vanguard troops is a peak great saint expert. The three-eyed divine race tribesman said. But where are they? Lu Ming's voice did not fluctuate as he continued to ask. 80,000 miles west of here. Chapter 1780. Saint power burst out and slashed down, killing the three-eyed divine tribe member. Blood splattered on the tomb. Xiaohu, Xiaohua, I will avenge you. From now on, if I encounter any three-eyed divine tribe members in the outside world, I will kill them without mercy. Lu Ming whispered. That was his promise. Then he stepped into the air and headed west. Soon Lu Ming arrived at the 80,000-mile journey. In front of him was a military camp with a large number of three-eyed divine tribe members stationed there. Lu Ming stood quietly in the air, hiding behind the clouds. He watched quietly, thinking of a countermeasure in his mind. After a while, Lu Ming turned and left. Lu Ming did not give up, but he wanted to borrow some strength. There were great saint experts in the Great Perfection realm. With Lu Ming's current battle strength, he was no match for them. Not to mention there must be more great saint experts. It would be unwise for him to kill his way in alone. Although this place might be fake and an illusion, he could not rule out the possibility that it was real. This was because everything was too real. Lu Ming could not tell if it was real or not. Soon Lu Ming arrived at the Beast God Mountain. In the past, Lu Ming had followed the tribe's hunting team to the Beast God Mountain several times. He knew that there was a group of blood-eyed demonic apes living in the Beast God Mountain. These demonic apes were bloodthirsty and very vengeful. They would not let go of anyone who offended them. In the past, the tribe's hunting team had avoided these demonic apes. Now Lu Ming needed to borrow the strength of these demonic apes. Lu Ming took a step forward and rushed into the Beast God Mountain. Soon he arrived in front of a valley. Brr, brr. At the entrance of the valley there were two giant apes. Their eyes were blood red, and their bodies were as black as steel. They were more than 5 meters tall and had an intimidating aura. As soon as they saw Lu Ming, they roared twice, revealing ferocious expressions as they pounced on Lu Ming. A battle sword appeared in Lu Ming's hand. With a slash, one of the demonic apes was killed. Brr. The other one let out an angry roar. The roar spread far and wide. Suddenly the entire valley was in an uproar. A terrifying aura spread out. Terrifying roars spread out, as if the entire mountain range was about to be overturned. The ground shook as countless blood-eyed demonic apes rushed out from the valley like a flood of steel. Kill? Lu Ming shouted as he unleashed the primal chaos tribulation finger with all his might. He pointed out with his finger, and a huge primal chaos tribulation finger formed and pointed at the group of blood-eyed demonic apes. Suddenly the bodies of the blood-eyed demonic apes exploded. Then Lu Ming turned around and ran, pushing his movement skill to the limit. Brr. Roar. There was an earth-shattering roar, and several terrifying blood-eyed demonic apes came out of the crowd. Their auras were terrifying and astonishing. They were definitely the existences of the Great Sage High Level. They chased after Lu Ming at an extremely fast speed. Lu Ming used the wind thunder steps, and at the same time the air-frozen pearl flew out. A wave of energy entered Lu Ming's body. Black wings spread out behind his back and coordinated with each other. His speed reached the limit as he rushed towards the three-eyed Divine Tribe's army. There were at least 10,000 blood-eyed demonic apes chasing after him. Their speed was astonishing. Soon the three-eyed Divine Tribe's camp was in sight. The three-eyed Divine Tribe's army had already sensed the huge number of blood-eyed demonic apes charging at Lin Fan. Tens of thousands of three-eyed Divine Tribe's army appeared and formed a large formation. Lu Ming did not stop and rushed towards the three-eyed Divine Tribe's army camp. Stop! There was a loud shout from the three-eyed Divine Tribe's army. Lu Ming ignored them and continued to charge forward. Kill him. The three-eyed Divine Sect's upper echelon gave the order. Suddenly, countless rays of light flooded towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming's body flashed continuously, dodging one attack after another. He was getting closer and closer to the three-eyed Divine Tribe's army. At this time, Lu Ming's eyes turned as black as ink. He used the soul illusion technique. At this moment, other than the great saints in the three-eyed Divine Tribe's army, the rest of the three-eyed Divine Tribe's army were all affected by Lu Ming. In their eyes, Lu Ming's figure seemed to have disappeared. After pausing for a moment, Lu Ming rushed into the three-eyed Divine Tribe's army. Kill? Some of the great saints from the three-eyed Divine Tribe charged towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming did not continue to fight. He dodged with all his might and shuttled through the three-eyed Divine Tribe's army. Rumble. Brr. 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 At this time the blood-eyed demonic apes finally arrived. They ignored everything and charged into the three-eyed Divine Tribe's army. Anyone who stood in their way was an enemy and they had to be torn apart. In an instant, a large number of three-eyed Divine Tribe's army was killed. The three-eyed Divine Tribe's army immediately counterattacked and killed the blood-eyed demonic apes. In this way, the blood-eyed demonic apes targeted the three-eyed Divine Tribe and both sides engaged in a fierce battle. The two sides collided like a torrent of steel. In an instant, a large number of three-eyed Divine Tribe's army and the blood-eyed demonic apes were torn apart and killed. Kill him. In the sky, a three-eyed Divine Tribe's army was unusually burly. He wore a metal armor and his aura was incomparably powerful. All three of his eyes were staring at Lu Ming. Just now, Lu Ming had brought the blood-eyed demonic apes over. He saw it clearly. Suddenly, two great saints in the initial stage charged towards Lu Ming. Two rays of destructive light pierced through the void and shot towards Lu Ming. A battle sword appeared in Lu Ming's hand. He slashed twice consecutively at the destructive light. Then his body shook violently and flew backwards. A trace of blood flowed out of his mouth. Of course, this was done deliberately by Lu Ming. Otherwise, how could two great saints in the initial stage of the three-eyed Divine Tribe injure him? However, in this situation it was wisest to pretend to be weak. If he appeared too strong, it would attract more experts of the three-eyed Divine Tribe. He would pretend to be weak first and let the three-eyed Divine Tribe and the blood-eyed demonic apes fight. The two three-eyed Divine Tribe's army rushed towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming deliberately fought with them. However, he appeared to be completely at a disadvantage and was in danger. Sure enough, seeing that Lu Ming was injured by two great saints in the initial stage of the Three-Eyed Divine Tribe's army and was completely suppressed, a trace of disdain flashed in the eyes of the Three-Eyed Divine Tribe's army. He stopped looking at Lu Ming and focused his attention on the blood-eyed demonic apes. Kill? The Three-Eyed Divine Tribe's army roared. He stepped forward and shot out a destructive light from his eyes, killing a great saint-level blood-eyed demonic ape. At the same time he slashed out with his battle axe and killed another blood-eyed demonic ape. Kill these beasts. The Three-Eyed Divine Tribe's army roared. He led the strongest group of experts and charged towards the blood-eyed demonic apes. Roar, roar, roar. A ferocious roar rang out as a gigantic blood-eyed demonic ape appeared. It was at least 10 meters tall, and it charged towards the Three-Eyed Divine race. It threw out a punch, and a terrifying demonic light shone from its fist as it destroyed the light of destruction of the opponent. Behind it, there were also some exceptionally powerful blood-eyed demonic apes. Both sides were engaged in a fierce battle. The strongest against the strongest. It was extremely tragic. Chapter 1781. Lu Ming kept fighting with the two Three-Eyed Divine Tribe members, but he did not kill them. The two Three-Eyed Divine Tribe members had become his shields. With these two Three-Eyed Divine Tribe members around, the other Three-Eyed Divine Tribe members would not come after him. As time passed, more and more Three-Eyed Divine Tribe members and blood-eyed demonic apes died in battle. Even the strongest great sages were constantly dying in battle. The battle between the Three-Eyed Divine Tribe member in armor and the most terrifying blood-eyed demonic ape had reached its climax. Both of them were great sage, great perfection, great sages. The battle was fierce and both sides were injured. In the end, the Three-Eyed Divine Tribe member in armor was stronger. After exchanging hundreds of blows, he killed the blood-eyed demonic ape. However, before the blood-eyed demonic ape died, it fought back with all its might and punched the Three-Eyed Divine Tribe member's armor, penetrating his heart and severely injuring him. At this time, the Three-Eyed Divine Tribe members began to gain the upper hand. After all, there were more Three-Eyed Divine Tribe members and more experts. However, the blood-eyed demonic apes were in a frenzy. Their eyes were bloodshot and they had completely fallen into a frenzy. In their eyes there was only killing. They pounced on the Three-Eyed Divine Tribe members without any regard for their lives. Even if they died, they would drag them down with them. When the last blood-eyed demonic ape was killed, the Three-Eyed Divine Tribe members also suffered heavy losses. There were only about 10,000 Three-Eyed Divine Tribe members left. 20,000 of them were killed by the blood-eyed demonic apes. The remaining Three-Eyed Divine Tribe members were all injured. Why is this guy still alive? Attack and kill him. The Three-Eyed Divine Tribe member in armor roared and looked at Lu Ming. Lu Ming was still fighting with the two Three-Eyed Divine Tribe members. You are the ones who will die. At this time, Lu Ming's aura suddenly soared. Light spots bloomed on his body and more than 100 holy weapons appeared. The battle weapon Qi gathered on the battle sword in Lu Ming's hand. Lu Ming's battle sword shone brightly. With a slash, it directly destroyed the attack of a Three-Eyed Divine Tribe member in the lower Great Sage realm. With an unstoppable force he attacked his opponent. Oh no! His opponent was shocked. He did not expect Lu Ming's combat strength to suddenly soar. It was too late to dodge. This Three-Eyed Divine being was directly cleaved into two by Lu Ming. Kill? Following that, Lu Ming roared and two sword lights shot out from his eyes, piercing into the body of another Three-Eyed God race member. This Three-Eyed God race member's body stiffened, and Lu Ming's battle sword swept out, cutting him in two. In the blink of an eye, two great sage initial mastery powerhouses were killed by Lu Ming. When Lu Ming broke through the sage realm, he almost killed a great sage minor mastery powerhouse. Now that he had reached the great sage perfection, killing a great sage minor mastery powerhouse was like chopping melons and vegetables. Damn it, this person was hiding his strength. Let's attack together and kill him. The armored Three-Eyed God race member bellowed. Suddenly, the Three-Eyed God race member stepped on the void and charged toward Lu Ming. Before they arrived, the light of destruction in their eyes was constantly shooting at Lu Ming. Around Lu Ming, more than 100 sacred weapons rotated, blocking the attack of the light of destruction. At the same time, his figure moved and charged toward the group of Three-Eyed God race members. With a loud roar, the divine sword technique burst out along with the sound waves. Those below the great sage realm screamed miserably as their souls were destroyed by Lu Ming. Their corpses fell to the ground like raindrops. In the blink of an eye, more than 100 Three-Eyed God race members were killed. At the same time, Lu Ming kept waving his hands, and 9 sealing gates appeared, sealing a large number of three-eyed god race members. Even great sages would be sealed in that instant. That moment represented life and death. Lu Ming rushed over, and his battle sword was thousands of meters long. With a slash, more than 100 three-eyed god race members were killed. Among them there were 2 great sage initial mastery experts. Bus. In the sky, a chaotic flipping sky seal was formed. It was incomparably huge, like an immemorial divine mountain, and it pressed down. Run. Many three-eyed god race members were scared out of their wits and fled frantically. However, under the suppression of the chaotic flipping sky seal, the three-eyed god race members were obliterated one by one and turned into ashes. Those below the Great Sage Realm were like ants in front of Lu Ming. They did not have the slightest ability to fight back. Those below the Great Sage Realm retreat. Great Sage Realm, let's kill him together. The three-eyed god race members in armor roared and gave the order. The three-eyed god clan members who were below the Great Sage level retreated rapidly while the burly three-eyed god clan members stepped forward and charged toward Lu Ming. All of them were Great Sage Realm experts, and there were dozens of them. Dozens of light of destruction shot out, and Lu Ming's face became very solemn. With so many Great Sages joining forces, there were Great Sage Initial Mastery experts, Great Sage Realm experts, and Great Sage Peak experts. This force was too strong. Lu Ming could only retreat. Lu Ming's figure soared into the sky and avoided the attack. Kill? Those Great Sages attacked Lu Ming one after another. Lu Ming's glabella shone, and the Tai Chi disc array appeared. Lu Ming controlled the array law, and countless runes formed and disappeared into the Tai Chi disc array. The Tai Chi disc array enlarged rapidly, and a yin and yang pattern formed on it and suppressed downward. Dong, dong. The attacks of the three-eyed god race all landed on the Tai Chi disc array. The Tai Chi disc array vibrated and was sent flying. Chaotic Calamity Finger. At this time, Lu Ming pointed out with his finger and erupted with his strongest power. A finger pointed at a Great Sage Peak three-eyed god race member. Boom. The power of the Chaotic Calamity Finger at 50% was really amazing. Even a Great Sage Peak expert could not withstand it. He vomited blood and retreated, and his body almost cracked. Kill? Lu Ming's figure flashed, and he directly attacked the Great Sage Peak expert. Here the only ones who could threaten Lu Ming were those at or above the Great Sage Peak. Lu Ming was not afraid of those at the Great Sage Peak. Therefore, Lu Ming wanted to get rid of the Great Sage Peak expert first. Die. Halfway, a Great Sage Peak expert and a Great Sage Peak expert blocked in front of Lu Ming, and their battle axes slashed at him. Clang, clang. The sound of swords rang out, and a yin and yang pattern appeared on the Tai Chi disc array. Then the yin and yang pattern turned into a pair of yin and yang fish swords and slashed at the two. The Great Sage Peak three-eyed god race member was killed directly, and the Great Sage Peak expert was almost killed. A long sword wound was cut open on his body, and he frantically retreated. But how could Lu Ming let him retreat? With a slash of his sword, he completely ended this person. In the next moment, Lu Ming's figure appeared in front of the Great Sage Peak three-eyed god race member. This three-eyed god race member was seriously injured by Lu Ming's Chaotic Calamity Finger, and he had almost no strength to resist. Lu Ming waved his hand, and the 5 Great Sage weapons around him rushed over and killed this person. Under normal circumstances, Lu Ming would never be able to kill a Great Sage Peak existence so easily. However, these three-eyed god race members were almost all injured in the fierce battle with the blood-eyed demonic ape, and their combat strength was not at their peak. Therefore, Lu Ming killed one of them with lightning speed. Then Lu Ming did not stop and attacked the other three-eyed god race members. There were only 3 Great Sage Peak experts on the other side. Now that one was dead, there were 2 more. Chapter 1782. Primal Chaos Calamity Finger. Lu Ming didn't even look at them. He just pointed out with his finger and used all his strength. A huge chaotic tribulation finger shot towards the crowd. Wherever the primordial chaos tribulation finger passed, several Great Sage three-eyed god tribe cultivators exploded and were killed. At this moment, Lu Ming seemed to have transformed into the god of death, slaughtering the three-eyed god tribe members wantonly. Damn it. If not for the fact that he was seriously injured, he would have attacked and killed Lu Ming. Surround him. Surround him. The armored three-eyed god race member roared. Bang, bang. The remaining Great Saint level three-eyed god tribe members stepped into the void. Led by 2 Great Saint Pinnacle experts, They formed an encirclement and launched continuous attacks at Lu Ming. Prison suppression. Lu Ming's palms danced in the air. Around him, illusory images of the suppressing hell steels appeared and pressed down on the three-eyed divine tribe. Not good. Is the prison suppressing steel. Retreat. When the three-eyed divine race saw the suppressing hell steel, they all screamed in fear. It was as if they had seen something incomparably terrifying, and they all retreated madly. There were a total of 9 illusionary figures of the prison-suppressing monuments, emitting a brilliant glow as they descended. 9 miserable shrieks rang out. 9 great sage experts in the minor mastery and great mastery of the great sage realm didn't even have the courage to fight back. How could you possibly have the prison-suppressing steel? The eyes of the three-eyed divine race member in armor were also filled with fear. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. These three-eyed divine tribe members were actually so afraid of the prison-suppressing monument? Without any hesitation, Zhang Xian summoned the fragments of the hell-suppressing monument from his spine. As soon as the fragments of the suppressing hell steel appeared, they rapidly expanded to the size of a mountain. Especially the 2 words hell and steel, they emitted a dazzling light. The fragments of the prison-suppressing steel pressed down on the three-eyed divine being. Block it together. A pinnacle great sage expert joined forces with 7 or 8 great sages from the three-eyed god tribe to unleash terrifying attacks in an attempt to stop the prison-suppressing steel. However, there seemed to be a special power on the prison-suppressing steel that countered the three-eyed divine race. When the three-eyed divine race's power hit the prison-suppressing steel, it collapsed. As the hell-suppressing steel pressed down, the three-eyed divine race members screamed in agony and exploded one after another, dying on the spot. Only the peak great sage didn't die, but he was half dead, coughing up large mouthfuls of blood. Kill? Lu Ming rushed over and killed him with a single slash. Go! With a wave of his hand, Lu Ming sent the prison-suppressing steel towards the three-eyed divine race member. Ah, damn it! The three-eyed divine race member turned pale with fright and tried to escape. However, it was useless. In an instant, the prison-suppressing steel caught up to him. The prison-suppressing steel shone even brighter and suppressed him. So what if it's the prison-suppressing monument? Get lost! The armored three-eyed divine race member roared. A terrifying ray of destruction shot out from his glabella and hit the prison-suppressing steel, causing it to tremble. However, the mysterious power on the prison-suppressing steel exploded and crushed the ray of destruction instantly. Get lost! Get lost! Get lost! The armored three-eyed divine race member roared. The battle axe in his hand kept slashing down on the prison-suppressing steel, causing it to tremble continuously. The three-eyed divine race member's cultivation was at the peak of the great sage realm. Although he was severely injured, his fighting strength was still shocking. The prison-suppressing steel couldn't kill him immediately. However, Lu Ming was still around. Lu Ming stepped into the air and appeared not far away. Come and help me. The three-eyed divine race member turned pale with fright. However, when the other three-eyed divine race members saw the prison-suppressing steel, they were almost scared to death. None of them dared to come out. All of them fled frantically and disappeared into the distance in the blink of an eye. No one can save you, Lu Ming said coldly. He pointed a finger and a chaotic calamity finger pointed at his opponent. The terrifying power caused him to roar in despair. He resisted with all his might and kept slashing with his battle axe. Finally, he managed to block the chaotic calamity finger, but he couldn't stop the power of the prison-suppressing steel. The prison-suppressing steel pressed down. The three-eyed divine race member roared in indignation and killed him. His body was torn into pieces. At this time, the other three-eyed divine race members had all fled. Lu Ming didn't give chase. He knew that he couldn't kill all the three-eyed divine race members by himself. There were so many of them and they had all scattered. He couldn't catch up to them. It was already incredible that he could wipe out most of the three-eyed divine race army and kill their general. Lu Ming put away the prison-suppressing steel and landed on the ground. He sat on the ground and gasped for breath. Just now, he had used the chaotic calamity finger with all his might. He had used up a lot of his saint power and his physical strength was a little weak. At this time, a white light flashed in front of Lu Ming. The white-robed elder appeared. You've done well. The white-robed elder's gaze swept across the scene and showed a hint of admiration. Is this my test? Lu Ming asked. Yes, this is the test. The white-robed elder nodded. Lu Ming was silent. After a while he said, So this is all an illusion? It's all fake? It's all real and all fake, the white-robed old man said. His eyes were filled with reminiscence and sadness as he continued, what you have experienced and seen during this period of time was actually real in the ancient era. Those people also existed in the past, but they all died in the end. They died at the hands of the foreign races. In the ancient times, the foreign tribes tore through the void and the heaven realm fell into chaos. Countless creatures were killed and hundreds of millions of corpses were strewn everywhere. It was a real bloodbath. What you've experienced is just a projection of a certain place in the ancient times. Lu Ming was silent again. After a while he asked, did I pass? Yes, you passed, the white-robed elder said. If I didn't kill the enemy's general, would I not pass? Lu Ming asked. The white-robed elder shook his head and said, it's not that difficult. As long as you can kill your way to this camp regardless of the result, you pass. You've already passed and your performance has already exceeded expectations. Of course, if you don't even dare to charge into this camp, then you've failed. Let me show you some images. The white-robed elder said and waved his hand. Images appeared in the air. Lu Ming saw that the others experienced the same thing as him. They were seriously injured and were saved by Jianghu. Then they recuperated in the tribe and were attacked by the three-eyed divine tribe. However, Lu Ming saw that when the three-eyed divine tribe attacked, there were people who did not break their shackles and recover their cultivation. Instead, they were killed by the three-eyed divine tribe. At this time, a white light shrouded them and they were eliminated. There were also people who abandoned the tribe and fled alone. Similarly, a white light shrouded them and they were eliminated. Chapter 1783. Lu Ming saw that when the three-eyed divine tribe invaded and killed the tribesmen, Long Chen was enraged and his eyes were bloodshot. In the end, he broke through the shackles and recovered his cultivation, killing all the three-eyed divine tribe members. Then he killed his way into the barracks. After a fierce battle, he died of exhaustion. Of course, dying in battle here was not a real death. Lu Ming also saw that Huang Ling, like Long Chen, had also killed her way into the barracks. In the end, she was also surrounded and killed by many experts. And, in the end, Lu Ming only saw 6 people who dared to charge into the enemy's barracks. The others either did not break through the shackles, escape directly, or did not dare to charge into the enemy's barracks. They were all teleported away. Other than Lu Ming, there were only 6 people. But no one could do what Lu Ming did, annihilating a large number of the enemy's troops and killing the three-eyed divine tribe's general. Lu Ming found that different people had different cultivation bases. The three-eyed divine tribe members that appeared were all different. The higher the cultivation base of the person, the higher the cultivation base of the three-eyed divine tribe members. For example, in the final barracks, the strongest person in the barracks would be a quasi-emperor if their cultivation base had reached the level of an absolute saint. No one could cross so many realms and kill a strong enemy. Lu Ming was able to do it by borrowing the power of the blood-eyed demonic ape and the fragments of the prison-suppressing steel. After watching, the white-robed old man waved his hand and the images disappeared. This time, including you, a total of 7 people passed and you performed the best. Since ancient times, no one can compare to you, so congratulations on becoming the true successor of the Hunyuan sect. The white-robed old man smiled. Did I succeed just like that? Lu Ming whispered. Not bad, you've succeeded just like that. It doesn't seem difficult, but it's actually very, very difficult. In fact, there were people in ancient times who were incomparably powerful. They might have been able to do what you did, but most of them didn't choose to do so. Instead, they turned around and left. If they didn't attack the barracks, then it's a failure. The white-robed old man sighed. Fighting strength and talent are not the only requirements for the Hunyuan sect to choose a successor. They also need courage, or rather, a fearless spirit. If one does not dare to fight to the death when his family and friends are killed and can only retreat, then such a person is too selfish. No matter how strong his fighting strength is, what's the use? Such a person may become a peak expert, but he is not what my primordial origin sect needs. What's the purpose of the Hunyuan sect spending so much effort to select a successor? Lu Ming asked. Prepare for battle. The white-robed old man said. At this moment, a bright light burst out from his eyes. A terrifying aura was emitted from his body. You've seen it before. When the foreign tribes invaded, the people of the heaven domain were plunged into misery and suffering. Endless territories were occupied. For so many years, countless experts of the heaven domain fought against the foreign tribes. Countless heroes died in battle. Now, the heaven domain is about to be completely occupied. and the foreign tribes have already begun to open the passage to the Yuan realm. When the time comes, the foreign tribes will descend into the Yuan realm. At that time, the Yuan realm will follow in the footsteps of the heaven domain. Hundreds of millions of corpses will be piled up, and no one will be able to stay out of it. This battle will happen sooner or later. So for so many years, the Hunyuan sect has been cultivating geniuses and experts, waiting for the final battle in the future. The white-robed old man explained. Lu Ming's heart trembled. Eggy had also said that the final battle was coming. Back then, when he saw the Titan longhorn beetle in Zhangzhou, it was guarding a dark passage. Could it be that the foreign tribes were on the other side of the passage? If the foreign tribes descended, would his family and friends be reduced to ashes like the previous tribes? No, Lu Ming would never let this happen. Lu Ming clenched his fists tightly. In fact, it's not just the Hunyuan sect. Several of the strongest forces in the heaven domain were doing the same. They kept spreading their inheritance. In fact, in ancient times, the humans of the Yuan realm did not know how to cultivate martial arts. The reason why they became strong later was because several of the strongest forces in the heaven domain spread their inheritance, which led to the current situation of the Yuan realm. The white-robed old man explained again. Lu Ming was dumbfounded. He did not expect that the cultivation methods of the Yuan realm were spread by several forces in the heaven domain. In fact, many of the ancient and powerful forces in the Yuan realm are disciples of the Hunyuan sect. Their ancestors have all received the inheritance of the Hunyuan sect. Since ancient times, the Hunyuan sect has been in a battle of providence, looking for successors. We divide the successors into 3 levels: gold, silver, and bronze. The white-robed old man explained. Then what level of successor am I? Lu Ming asked. Gold, the highest level. Since ancient times, you are the only one who has reached it. Therefore, you are the true successor of the Hunyuan sect, the Zongzi of the Hunyuan sect. In the future, you will inherit the position of the sect master of the Hunyuan sect. The white-robed old man said. Oh, how many people are left in the Hunyuan sect in the heaven domain? Not many. After a long time of war, not many people are still alive. Almost all of the 9 hall masters died in battle. You cultivate the Chaos Scripture, so you should have received the inheritance of the Chaos Emperor. Back then, the Chaos Emperor was one of the strongest in the world, but he also died in battle. The white-robed old man sighed. Lu Ming was speechless. There were not many people left. What was the use of inheriting the position of the Hunyuan sect's sect master? You are a gold inheritor. That is why you have the privilege of looking at other people's images. Others have no right to look at yours. Moreover, low-level inheritors have to listen to the orders of high-level inheritors. The white-robed old man said. By the way, why didn't I see Bubble know that space-time spirit mouse just now? Lu Ming asked. In the images just now, Lu Ming didn't see Bubble's image. The space-time spirit mouse's identity is special. Her mother, the previous generation space-time spirit mouse, is one of the 9 hall masters of the Hunyuan sect. Therefore she doesn't need to be tested. I directly brought her to a place where the inheritance of the previous generation space-time spirit mouse is. The white-robed old man explained. Lu Ming was delighted. It was a great opportunity for Bubble to be able to obtain the inheritance of the previous generation space-time spirit mouse. Well, I'll bring you to a place. The white-robed old man waved his hand. The environment here shattered like a mirror and then disappeared. In the next moment, Lu Ming appeared in a large hall. At this time, in another large hall, Long Qin, Huang Ling, and the others gathered together. In front of them, the white-robed old man was floating in the air. Congratulations to all of you for passing the test and becoming the silver successor of the Hunyuan sect. The white-robed old man said and then explained some things. The eyes of the 6 flickered. They remained silent, waiting for the rest of the story. They were all geniuses of powerful factions. Thus they knew more secrets than Lu Ming. They knew that becoming the successor of the Hunyuan sect would definitely bring benefits. Now I will reward each of you with a stream of vital qi. In the future, when you break through to the martial monarch realm and condense your small worlds, you can refine the vital qi to stabilize and strengthen your small worlds. Chapter 1784. It's the primordial qi? A blazing light burst out from the eyes of the 6 people. When the primordial qi appeared, chaos appeared. The primordial qi was as famous as the chaos qi. It was a treasure of heaven and earth that was born before heaven and earth. It was extremely precious and mysterious. The law of primordial qi was one of the 10 strongest laws. Just like what the white-robed elder said, when breaking through to the Emperor realm and condensing a small world, refining a wisp of primordial chi would make the small world more stable and stronger than ordinary small worlds. It was a priceless treasure that was hard to come by. Their hearts were burning with excitement. The white-robed elder smiled and said, "Of course, the silver inheritors will not only have these rewards. However, your cultivation is now in the sage realm and you can only cultivate one law. Now that you have the divine skills, you don't need other inheritances. However, after cultivating to the Emperor realm, you can master many laws and fuse them together. At that time, you will need a stronger inheritance. Therefore, after you reach the Emperor realm, you will have a chance to come here and obtain the inheritance. Moreover, since you are the silver inheritors, I will give you the silver inheritance token. In the future, you will be able to mobilize a part of the Hunyuan sect's power. The inheritors who are lower than you will have to listen to your orders." The white-robed elder said a series of temptations that made Huang Ling and the others' eyes brighten. "Senior, what conditions do we have to agree to?" Among the 6 of them, a beautiful woman asked. This woman was as beautiful as a fairy, and she was not inferior to Huang Ling at all. Moreover, her every move was filled with endless temptation. "The conditions are simple. Since you are the silver inheritors, you will have to listen to the gold inheritors." The white-robed elder said with a smile. "Someone has become a gold inheritor?" A young man said in disbelief. This person was the son of death who controlled the law of death. "That's right. After countless years, this time, someone has become a gold inheritor," the white-robed elder said. Suddenly, the faces of the 6 of them turned ugly. They were all peerless geniuses who were proud and wanted to step on other geniuses to reach the peak. Now they were asked to listen to other geniuses. How could they accept it? Especially the son of death. He was the son of God and was destined to become a top expert in the future. How could he listen to others? "Senior, what if I don't listen to you?" the son of death asked. "If you don't listen to me, I will send you out and disqualify you as a silver inheritor," the white-robed old man said. This caused the expressions of the 6 people to turn ugly. The fortuitous encounter that Xiaoqin obtained flew away just like that. He found it even harder to accept. Moreover, it's not a verbal promise, but a blood oath to obey the orders of the gold inheritor. The white-robed old man said, "Senior, it's not impossible for us to obey the orders of the gold inheritor. However, if the other party uses his status as a gold inheritor to make unreasonable demands or demands that we can't fulfill, should we obey his orders?" The peerless beauty asked. "That's very simple. When you make the blood oath, you can add some conditions. If the other party's orders conflict with the conditions you added, you naturally don't have to obey them. You won't violate the oath and be affected by the blood oath," the white-robed old man said. The eyes of the 6 people flickered. Even so, they were unwilling to accept it. The white-robed old man's gaze shifted before he continued, "Of course, I'll give you another chance. I'll give you 20 years. After 20 years, you can challenge the gold inheritor. If you win, you can replace him and become the new gold inheritor." 20 years. At this moment, the eyes of the 6 people lit up. To them, 20 years would pass in the blink of an eye. Especially the son of death. He had enough confidence in himself that he could defeat anyone in the same generation. "All right, I agree." The son of death was the first to speak. "Senior, can you show us the appearance of the gold inheritor?" At this moment, Huang Ling spoke. Her eyes were filled with a strange light. Lu Ming wasn't here. With Lu Ming's talent, could he not become an inheritor? She was curious. "Of course." The white-robed old man smiled. With a wave of his hand, a figure appeared in the air. It was Lu Ming's figure. "Lu Ming. It's Lu Ming." Huang Ling and Long Chen's eyes lit up. "It's him?" The son of death's eyes emitted a shocking glow. The same went for the others. "It's him indeed. His talent is terrifying," another young man said. Lu Ming came in first place when they were crossing the abyss previously. Later on, he even defeated the chaotic body. They had long remembered Lu Ming. "Senior, I agree," Huang Ling said. "I agree too." Long Chen followed. With this, 3 people agreed. "I agree too." The peerless woman smiled. She was so charming that the son of death and the others couldn't help but take a few more glances at her. Then the last 2 people agreed. "All right, all of you make a blood oath," the white-robed old man said. Immediately, everyone made a blood oath. Of course, they added some conditions in the blood oath. They could accept normal orders, but they didn't have to listen to special orders. "All right, now I'll give you the silver inheritance token. Also, I'll seal the primordial chi in the token." The white-robed old man waved his hand and 6 silver-white tokens appeared in the air. The words origin were written on them. Then the white-robed old man sealed the 6 primordial chi in the silver tokens. The 6 silver tokens flew to the 6 people respectively. They received them and kept them solemnly. In Lu Ming's hall, 3 strands of primordial chi appeared in the white-robed old man's hand. Normally, silver inheritors only have 1 strand of primordial chi. Gold inheritors only have 3 strands. The white-robed old man said. He then took out a golden token and sealed the 3 strands of primordial chi in the token. The token flew to Lu Ming. Lu Ming received it and kept it in the mountain river diagram. As the only gold inheritor, this is the only reward I get? Lu Ming looked at the white-robed old man eagerly. That's not all. The other 6 silver inheritors have to listen to you. The white-robed old man said. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Apart from Long Chen and Huang Ling, the other 6 people were good friends with him. Naturally, there was no issue of him ordering them around. However, the other 4 people were extremely powerful geniuses. They definitely came from powerful forces. If they listened to him, it would be very beneficial to Lu Ming. Moreover, when these people grew up in the future, they would definitely be rare experts. They would become Lu Ming's helpers. Of course, there's a condition. 20 years later, they can challenge you. If you lose, they will replace you and become the new gold inheritor. The white-robed old man said. 20 years later? They're no match for me. Chapter 1785. Now there might be some young sky prides who were much stronger than Lu Ming, but 20 years later, Lu Ming was confident that he would not be weaker than any of his peers. If he did not even have this confidence, how could he reach the peak? This was the same as the son of death. Any peerless sky prides would be confident in themselves, confident that they could suppress everyone. Alright, I hope you can suppress all of them. The white-robed old man said. Senior, is there anything else? Lu Ming looked at the white-robed old man again. Of course. The white-robed old man smiled and a jade tablet appeared in his hand. He said, here is a list of all the inheritors of the Hunyuan sect. Since ancient times there have been quite a number of them. These people are the bronze inheritors and the silver inheritors. They have all sworn an oath to obey the orders of the inheritors of higher levels. Take a look. The white-robed old man handed the jade token to Lu Ming. Lu Ming took it and used his spiritual consciousness to check it. He immediately saw more than 200 names. Senior, over the years, only 200 people have become inheritors? Lu Ming was surprised. This time there were 7 of them. Do you think it's easy to become an inheritor? The reason why there are so many of you this time is because we're in a golden age where sky prides gather. That's why there are 7 inheritors at once. In the past, there might not be an inheritor for many years. The white-robed old man said. But let me tell you, some of these people died in battle before they grew up. Some of them became peerless experts and created terrifying forces. Many of them have even become emperors. But the stronger your cultivation, the stronger your ability to resist the oath. If you go to them now, those powerful existences might not listen to you. They might even kill you. You better know it. The white-robed old man warned. Are you serious? Lu Ming was speechless. Those who did not listen to him, what was the use of being strong? This list was equivalent to not having them. It was equivalent to not having them. Of course, we can't rule out the possibility that some of them are loyal to Hunyuan sect and will listen to the higher-level inheritors. You have to know this yourself. The white-robed old man said again. Lu Ming was so depressed that he was about to vomit blood. He suddenly felt that this white-robed elder was really asking for a beating. Grasp? How could he grasp it? How would he know who was loyal to the Hunyuan sect? If he rashly ran over and said that he was the gold inheritor of the Hunyuan sect, he would probably be slapped to death by those powerful existences. The longer the time, the weaker the binding power of the oath. The stronger the cultivation base, the weaker the binding power of the oath. Some peerless experts had the power to destroy the heavens and earth. They were even above the oath, and any oath would be useless. Lu Ming's spiritual sense suddenly swept over a name. Sakura. Surname D? What did it have to do with the D family? Senior, who is this D Shirtian? Do you have any news about him? Lu Ming asked. I'm not very clear about the current situation of the people above, but this Sakura is definitely still alive. Moreover, his cultivation is very profound. You have a gold inheritance token. In the future, if you go near a low-grade inheritance token, you will be able to sense it. The white-robed old man said. Lu Ming nodded. If this Di Shirtian was really an expert of the Di family, would he listen to his orders? It was probably very mysterious. Senior, this list is not very useful. Do you have any other rewards for me? Lu Ming continued to look at the white-robed old man. Your cultivation base is still low. Some powerful inheritances can only be cultivated after reaching the emperor level. The white-robed old man said helplessly. No way, is there any divine ability related to the law of array Dao? Lu Ming asked. His law of array Dao could not exert its power without the help of divine abilities. Law of array Dao? I have one of the 9 scrolls of array Dao, the sealing scroll. Here you are. The white-robed old man thought for a moment, and a jade token appeared in his hand. Lu Ming was overjoyed. He quickly took it and scanned it with his spiritual sense. Immediately he saw a pile of wonderful contents. The 9 scrolls of array Dao is the highest technique for cultivating the law of array Dao. It was created by a powerful existence. However, I only have one of the 9 scrolls here. You will have to find the rest yourself. The white-robed old man said. What a pity. Lu Ming sighed in his heart and kept it. He looked at the white-robed old man and said, Senior, do you have any other rewards? Like a secret technique or something? The white-robed old man's eyelids twitched. This kid is too greedy. I have a secret technique here called the divine breathing technique. It can change and conceal one's aura. With your current cultivation base, even an ordinary lesser emperor won't be able to tell if you practice the divine breathing technique without careful observation. After the white-robed old man finished speaking, another jade token appeared in his hand. You can even fool a minor emperor expert? Is it more powerful than the illusion breathing technique? Lu Ming was surprised and then overjoyed. Illusion breathing technique? That's just a simplified version of the divine breathing technique. The white-robed old man said. Thank you, Senior. Lu Ming received it happily. All right, I'll send you off to meet the others. As if afraid that Lu Ming would ask again, the white-robed old man did not give Lu Ming a chance to speak. He waved his hand and brought Lu Ming away. In the next moment, Lu Ming appeared in another hall. This hall was where Long Qin, Huang Ling, and the others were. As soon as Lu Ming appeared, the 6 of them looked over at the same time. Lu Ming. Seeing Lu Ming, Huang Ling was overjoyed and quickly walked over. Haha, we shouldn't call him by his name now. We should call him Young Sect Leader. Long Qin laughed. Lu Ming was a gold inheritor and would inherit the position of Hunyuan Sect Leader in the future. They should call him Young Sect Leader. Long Qin, Huang Ling were friends. There's no need to be so formal. Just like before. Lu Ming said with a smile. Long Qin and Huang Ling smiled and nodded. They knew Lu Ming's character very well. Luo Chani greets the young sect leader. A peerless lady walked over with graceful steps and bowed to Lu Ming. Miss, please rise. There's no need to be so formal. Lu Ming quickly said. Then Lu Ming looked at the other 3 people. The Death Sun and the 2 young men wore unpleasant looks on their faces. They really could not bring themselves to bow to Lu Ming. Each of their cultivation was higher than Lu Ming. In their hearts they could not cross that hurdle. I know you're not convinced and even look down on me. It's okay. If it's not necessary, I won't order you around. Similarly, 20 years later, I'll give you a chance to challenge me. If you can defeat me, I'll respect him as the young sect leader. Lu Ming said. 20 years later, you won't be my opponent. The gold inheritor position is destined to be mine. The Death Sun said domineeringly. I'll wait for you to challenge me. But in these 20 years, I'll be the young sect leader. Lu Ming said. The Death Sun's face changed. Finally, his eyes were firm. He clasped his fist and said, Young sect leader. Having said that, he stepped aside. Chapter 1786. Alright, you've all met and gotten to know each other. I hope you can help each other in the future. Let me tell you, the final battle will come soon. At that time, you'll need to fight the enemy together. Now I'll send you back. The old man in the white robe said. Then he waved his hand and beams of light enveloped Lu Ming and the others. Then he felt dizzy. After some time, Lu Ming found that he had returned to the side courtyard of the Phoenix Palace. Long Qin, Huang Ling and of course Bubbles were with him. Lu Ming. Brother. Bubbles saw Lu Ming and pounced over, hanging on Lu Ming's shoulder. Bubbles, your cultivation has reached the Supreme Sage realm. Lu Ming looked and found that Bubbles' aura was extremely strong. He had reached the Supreme Sage realm. Yes, the old man sent me to a place and I had a strange breakthrough. There's also something extra in my head. Chirp chirp. Bubbles said in a childish voice. It must be related to the inheritance of the spacetime spirit mouse. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat and he was happy for Bubbles. Lu Ming, Huang Ling, my cultivation has reached the limit of the bright sage realm. I feel that I'll break through soon. I'll go back to the divine elephant sect to cultivate in seclusion. Long Qin said. Alright, I wish you a smooth breakthrough. Lu Ming said. Long Qin nodded and then stepped into the air and left. Lu Ming, I'm about to break through too. I'm afraid I'll have to go into seclusion too. Huang Ling said. Great, I'll also need to go into seclusion for a while. Lu Ming nodded. He had obtained one of the 9 array formation scroll, the sealing scroll and the divine breath technique. He needed to cultivate both. At that moment there was a sound of something breaking through the air. A figure stepped into the air. It was Mu Qingxue. Lu Ming, Huang Ling, you finally appeared. Where have you been for the past few months? I looked for you everywhere but couldn't find you. I thought something had happened to you. As soon as Mu Qingxue arrived, she started to complain. Qingxue, how did you know that we're back so soon? Huang Ling asked curiously. I was nearby. I saw Long Qin come out from here. I guess that you're back too. Mu Qingxue said. Qingxue, I'm sorry. It happened so suddenly that we didn't inform you when we participated in the Hunyuan sect's assessment. Huang Ling didn't hide the truth from Mu Qingxue. You've participated in the Hunyuan sect's assessment? Mu Qingxue nodded in realization. Lu Ming nodded and asked. Lu Ming was stunned. He remembered that it had been more than half a year since he went to the Hunyuan sect for the assessment. Perhaps the 2 months he spent in the tribe for the last assessment was just an illusion. It was not real. Perhaps it was just an instant. Lu Ming guessed in his heart. By the way, some of the geniuses who went to the Celestial City have returned. Not long ago, a genius from the Wan family came and said that he wanted to challenge Lu Ming. In the end, we blocked him and sent him back. Thereafter, the people from the Wan family spread rumors everywhere, saying that Lu Ming didn't dare to fight when he encountered a stronger opponent and was a coward. Mu Qingxue said. The Wan family again. Lu Ming's eyes flashed with a cold light. They're just a bunch of clowns. There's no need to care about them. Then they chatted for a while. Huang Ling and Mu Qingxue left. Lu Ming returned to his room and entered the mountain river diagram to begin his seclusion. First, he had to cultivate the divine breath technique. Lu Ming took out the jade token for the divine breath technique and studied it carefully. Then he began to cultivate it. Lu Ming had cultivated the illusory breath technique before. Although the divine breath technique was magical, it couldn't stump Lu Ming. In just 3 days Lu Ming succeeded in cultivating it. Then Lu Ming took out one of the 9 scrolls of Array Dao, the sealing scroll, and studied it carefully. It's so magical. After a long time Lu Ming sighed. The sealing scroll could unleash the magical power of Array Dao to form a sealing technique. If cultivated to the highest level, it could even seal the heavens and earth and suppress everything. This was created by a terrifying existence, and its mysteries were boundless. This is only one of the 9 scrolls of Array Dao. I wonder how magical the other 8 scrolls are. Lu Ming was really looking forward to it. In the following days, Lu Ming sat cross-legged under the Enlightenment ancient tree and focused on comprehending the Tao and cultivating the sealing technique. In the blink of an eye, 2 months had passed. At this time, Lu Ming ended his cultivation because he sensed movement outside. Before he entered the mountain river diagram, he had set up a sensing array in the courtyard. As long as someone came to look for him, he would sense it. With a thought, Lu Ming came out of the mountain river diagram. When he walked out of the room, he saw Huang Ling. Huang Ling, congratulations on breaking through to the Supreme Sage realm. Lu Ming looked around and found that Huang Ling's aura was several times stronger than before. It was obvious that her cultivation had broken through. You're about to break through too. Huang Ling smiled and said, by the way, someone sent you an invitation this time. With that, an invitation appeared in Huang Ling's hand. Invitation? Who sent it? Lu Ming was curious. Jade Lake. This time, the Jade Lake Saintess of Inheritance has been born. We're holding a tea party and sending out invitations to invite all the geniuses of the ancient moon sacred ground to Jade Lake. Huang Ling said. Saintess of Inheritance. Lu Ming was puzzled. He remembered that the last time the Jade Lake Saintess was born, she was not called the Saintess of Inheritance. As if seeing Lu Ming's puzzlement, Huang Ling explained, the 9 saintesses of Jade Lake were just ordinary saintesses. The Saintess of Inheritance of Jade Lake is above the ordinary saintesses in terms of status, talent, and beauty. She has the potential to take over Jade Lake in the future. However, the Saintess of Inheritance of Jade Lake is extremely rare. The selection criteria are very strict. Jade Lake has not had a Saintess of Inheritance for thousands of years. This time many talents are invited. I'm afraid that many talents from the ancient moon's sacred ground will be there. It will be very lively. In that case we can gather. When? Lu Ming asked. Tomorrow. I'll look for you tomorrow. Let's go together. Huang Ling said. Lu Ming nodded. A day passed in the blink of an eye. The next day Huang Ling and Mu Qingxue came to find Lu Ming. Lu Ming took Bubbles and went to Jade Lake together. It was the same lake as last time. Above the lake there were many palaces. The Jade Lake Celestial Palace appeared. In front of the Celestial Palace someone welcomed them. They entered the Jade Lake Celestial Palace and came to a quiet and beautiful place. This area was very wide. At this time the two sides of the area were filled with tables. Many people had already arrived. They were all young geniuses from various powerful forces. There were both men and women. Some young and beautiful women walked between the tables and poured tea for the geniuses. The area was filled with the fragrance of tea. At the top of the area there were 9 jade tables. The 9 saintesses of Jade Lake sat at the 9 jade tables. Behind the 9 saintesses, there was a pavilion floating in the air. There was a flight of stairs extending to the bottom. In the pavilion there was also a jade table, but there was no one there. Chapter 1787. Long Chen. When Lu Ming and the rest arrived, they saw Long Chen sitting at a table. They walked over and sat down at Long Chen's table. You're here. Long Chen nodded and poured tea for Lu Ming and the rest. Lu Ming looked around and realized that Long Chen's aura was extremely powerful. Apparently, Long Chen had also broken through and entered the Supreme Saint realm. They chatted and drank tea. Outside, people kept arriving. Before long, there were hundreds of people in the area. They were all young geniuses. Almost all the geniuses from the ancient moon sacred ground had been invited. Hee Lu Ming, you finally stopped being a coward and came out. At that moment, a sneer resounded throughout the area. Lu Ming looked in the direction of the voice and saw a few young people looking at him coldly. The geniuses of the Wan clan. Among them were Wan Tianbing, Wan Tianlong, and another person with a noble aura. Lu Ming did not recognize him. He was obviously another genius from the Wan clan. The one who had spoken was Wan Tianbing. At the scene, many geniuses looked at Lu Ming and then at the geniuses from the Wan clan with anticipation. It seemed that Lu Ming was going to clash with the Wan clan again. Wan Tianbing, what's wrong? Did you not enjoy the last battle? Lu Ming said disdainfully. Wan Tianbing's face darkened. He snorted and said, I was careless the last time. You don't have to be so smug. Careless? What a joke. If it weren't for your shameless interference, you would have been dead. Lu Ming sneered in disdain. Bam. At that moment, a young man beside Wan Tianbing slammed the table. He looked at Lu Ming coldly and scolded, How dare you insult the seniors of the Wan clan? You deserve to die. Lu Ming looked at him and said indifferently, Who do you think you are? I said that the old men of the Wan clan are old dogs. Was I wrong? When you beat up the younger ones, the older ones stepped in. Everyone saw it. You still dare to spout nonsense? I'll kill you today. That person shouted coldly and suddenly stood up. A powerful aura pressed down on Lu Ming. Great Sage Realm. There was no doubt that this person was a supreme saint, much stronger than Wan Tianbing. Boom. Long Chen and Huang Ling, who were next to Lu Ming, exploded with powerful auras at the same time, causing that person's expression to change greatly. He was not the only one. The other people's expressions changed drastically. They looked at Huang Ling and Long Chen in disbelief. Great saints, Huang Ling and Long Chen have also broken through to the Great Saint realm. How is that possible? A few months ago they were still far from the Great Sage realm. How did they break through to the Great Sage realm so quickly? Incredible. Many people cried out in surprise, finding it hard to believe. This was especially true for some of the geniuses who had competed with Huang Ling and Long Chen in the past. Huang Kong, Huang Bing, and the others from Phoenix Palace stared at Huang Ling with their mouths agape. In the end they sighed. They knew that they had been far surpassed by Huang Ling. In addition to Huang Ling's terrifying talent, it would be difficult for them to surpass Huang Ling in this lifetime. The genius from Wan clan was called Wan Pingyang. He was one of the strongest geniuses in Wan clan. He had just returned from Celestial City not long ago. At this moment his expression changed. He had not expected Long Chen and Huang Ling to be so powerful. Wan Pingyang rolled his eyes and sneered, Lu Ming, you're really a coward. When I went to Phoenix Palace to challenge you, you hid and refused to fight. Now you're hiding behind others. Hee hee, the path of martial arts depends on hiding. This is the first time I've seen it. You, a supreme saint, want to fight me, a bright sage. You think it's glorious? Is this your confidence and pride? Lu Ming replied coldly. Haha, ridiculous. Cultivation realm is also a kind of talent. No matter how strong your combat strength is, you'll be stuck in a realm forever. You'll be a piece of trash. What's the use? I can suppress you with a flip of my hand. Wan Pingyang laughed and sneered. Are you really that confident? You think you can suppress me? If a supreme saint like you is suppressed by a bright sage, I wonder if the seniors of Wan clan will come and find trouble with me again? Lu Ming said indifferently. Suppressed by you? That's ridiculous. Do you think it's possible? Come out and fight me. Wan Pingyang shouted. The corners of Lu Ming's mouth curled up slightly. A cold light flashed in his eyes and he was about to stand up. At this moment, a clear voice sounded, Everyone, we're here to taste tea today. Let's get to know each other. There's no need to fight. The Saintess of Heritage is coming. At this moment, a Saintess of Jade Lake spoke. Lu Ming, you're lucky. I'll give the Saintess of Jade Lake some face today. However, your luck won't last forever. Wan Pingyang said coldly. What? The corners of Lu Ming's mouth curled up slightly. Who's the lucky one? They're here. At this moment, someone spoke up. Everyone's gaze turned towards the pavilion. A woman stepped out from the depths of Jade Lake Divine Palace. She was wearing a light gauze revealing her white thighs. She was not wearing shoes. Her feet and legs were like the most beautiful works of art in the world. They were well proportioned and beautiful. One look at them and they would not want to look away. With every step she took, a cloud would appear in the sky and hold her body. Everyone's gazes shifted upwards, moving past the peak of the turbulent waves. It was a peerless face that could topple cities. The 9 saintesses of Jade Lake were already peerless beauties. However, compared to this woman, they were overshadowed. This woman was like a fairy who had walked out of a painting. She was the legendary goddess. So beautiful. Someone muttered to himself. He was already stunned. Lu Ming was also stunned. Not only him, but Huang Ling and Long Chen were also stunned. It was not because she was too beautiful, but because they knew this woman. Luo Qianni. Lu Ming mumbled to himself. He had never expected that the sacred lady of inheritance of the Jade Pool would be Luo Qianni, one of the 7 people who had reached the end of the Hunyuan sex assessment. She was one of the silver inheritors. I didn't expect that Jade Lake's Saintess of Inheritance would be her. Huang Ling muttered to herself. Indeed, I didn't expect this. Brother Lu Ming is really perverted. He's in a daze when he sees a beauty. Bubbles muttered at the side. Ahem. Lu Ming coughed awkwardly. His face was slightly red. He picked up a cup of tea and took a sip. He glanced at Bubbles and said, What does a little kid know? Of course I know. You think I can't see through your perverted eyes? Brother Long Chen and sister Huang Ling too. Bubbles pouted and a trace of disdain flashed in her eyes. This made Long Chen and Huang Ling a little embarrassed. Little girl, you're talking nonsense. I'm a woman. How can I be perverted? Huang Ling rolled her eyes at Bubbles. Can't a woman be perverted? Bubbles muttered. By then, Luo Qianni had already landed in the pavilion. She held up a cup of tea and said, I am Luo Qianni. Thank you all for gracing me with your presence. There is no wine today, only tea. I would like to propose a toast to all of you. Chapter 1788. To be honest, Luo Qianni was indeed extremely beautiful. Her looks were comparable to Huang Ling and Xian Yanqing. However, she had an additional aura, a seductive aura. Every frown, every smile, and every move she made seemed to be extremely charming and seductive. Most of the young men at the scene were tempted. They stared at Luo Qianni passionately. Wan Pingyang was the same. His eyes were burning with passion as they fell on Luo Qianni. He could not take his eyes off her. You flatter me. It's an honor to meet the Saintess Qianni today. The Saintess is as beautiful as a goddess. It's my honor to meet you today. Some self-proclaimed handsome geniuses immediately spoke up, trying to get Luo Qianni's attention. Every time the Saintess of Jade Lake was born, they would choose a protector to grow up with her. A protector, in layman's terms, was a cultivation partner or husband. This was the case for ordinary saintesses and even more so for the Saintess of Heritage. If one could become the protector of Jade Lake's Saintess of Heritage, Not only would he have a rare beauty, but he would also be able to enjoy the vast resources of Jade Lake. Who would not want to? Luo Qianni smiled and waved her hand. Thank you for coming. Please take a seat. Everyone took their seats except for one person. It was a burly young man in a purple robe. The most eye-catching thing about him was his purple hair, which flowed freely in the wind. He looked wild and arrogant. He stared at Luo Qianni passionately and said, "Saintess, you must be lonely sitting alone in the pavilion. Why don't you let me accompany you?" After he finished speaking, he soared into the air and stepped forward, intending to enter the pavilion. "It's Su Tuo from Sky Wolf Pagoda." Someone spoke out, recognizing this youth. He was an extremely powerful heavenly genius. Su Tuo stepped forward and quickly approached the pavilion. The 9 ordinary saintesses of Jade Lake looked upset. This man's behavior was an insult to Jade Lake's saintess of heritage. "Brother, you've gone too far. Saintess Qianni did not invite you." An ordinary saintess rose into the air and blocked Su Tuo. "Can't I go up if she didn't invite me? Isn't Jade Lake's saintess here to find a man? Do you think I'm not qualified enough?" Su Tuo said. His purple hair flew in the wind and he stared at Luo Qianni with a fiery gaze. "Watch your words." The expression of the Jade Lake's ordinary saintess became even more unsightly. Su Tuo's words were a blatant insult. "What are you pretending for? Women are born to be enjoyed by men. Otherwise, what's the point of being born in this world? Get out of my way." Su Tuo's aura surged as he shouted like a heavenly wolf howling at the moon. The ordinary saintesses turned pale and staggered backward. Su Tuo was obviously in the Great Saint realm and was extremely powerful. He was one of the top geniuses of the ancient Moon Holy Land and came from the powerful Sky Wolf Tower. Bang! Bang! With a loud shout, he forced back several ordinary saintesses. Su Tuo became even more arrogant. He stepped forward, causing the void to rumble. "The members of Sky Wolf Pagoda are truly domineering," someone said. "Celestial Wolf Pagoda is filled with celestial wolves. They act insolently and are extremely protective of their own. They're a bunch of lunatics. Let's lower our voices." Another person spoke. "Whoosh, whoosh." At this time, several other holy maidens stood in front of Su Tuo. "Get out of my way." Many of them shouted again. Their purple hair danced in the wind as if they were about to turn into purple wolves and pounce on Su Tuo. "Let him come over," Luo Qianni said. Her face was calm as she sat on a jade stool. She picked up a cup of tea and sipped it casually. "Yes." The saintesses nodded and made way for him. "Ha, Holy Maiden Qianni, how about I be your protector? We can do it tonight." Su Tuo laughed and landed on the edge of the pavilion. "It's not impossible to become Qianni's protector. Let's see if you have the ability to do so." Luo Qianni smiled seductively. At this time, her eyes turned pitch black and a mysterious wave of energy emanated from her body. At this time, Su Tuo's body froze. The next moment he shouted, "Who's there?" Then he turned around abruptly and threw a punch behind him. A terrifying fist energy rushed into the vast void. Everyone looked at each other. There was no one behind Su Tuo. Why did he attack? However, what happened next was even more shocking. Su Tuo roared and continued to throw punches. His face was ferocious as if he was fighting fiercely with someone. After throwing hundreds of punches, Su Tuo roared and spat out a mouthful of blood. His face was pale. "Illusion. Su Tuo is under an illusion," someone exclaimed. It was obvious that Su Tuo was under an illusion. Otherwise he would not be in such a state. However, with Su Tuo's cultivation, it was shocking that he was unknowingly under an illusion. At this time, Su Tuo came to his senses and looked at Luo Qianni with an ugly expression. "You can't even sit on this seat. It seems that you are not qualified to be Qianni's protector," Luo Qianni said with a smile on her face. "Su Tuo, you'd better come down. With your cultivation you are not qualified at all," someone said disdainfully. Many of the prodigies who came today were on par with Su Tuo in terms of cultivation. They were not afraid of him. Su Tuo's face turned even uglier. He snorted coldly and turned to leave the Jade Lake Divine Palace. He was too ashamed to stay. He was overbearing and said that he wanted Luo Qianni to be his woman. Now he was injured before Luo Qianni even made a move. Clearly he was too inferior to Luo Qianni. "Whoever wants to sit and have a drink with Qianni, come up. If you can step into the pavilion from this jade staircase, Qianni will drink with you today," Luo Qianni said with a smile. Many people were tempted by her words. As the saying goes, the pavilion closest to the water enjoys the moonlight first. If they could sit and drink tea with Luo Qianni and get closer to her, they might have a chance to win her heart in the future. Many powerful prodigies' eyes lit up. I'll do it. In the crowd, a golden light flashed, and an arrogant young man wearing a golden robe flew up the jade ladder. After that, he walked towards the pavilion. It's the 5th prince of the Golden Crow clan. Someone recognized him. The Golden Crow clan. A cold light flashed in Lu Ming's eyes. Legend had it that the Golden Crow clan was extremely powerful. Among the younger generation there were 10 princes, each stronger than the other. They were all terrifying existences. The 5th prince of the Golden Crow clan was also very famous. He had reached the Supreme Saint realm a few years ago. The 5th prince of the Golden Crow clan looked solemn. His body was enveloped in the divine fire of the sun. He walked up step by step. However, halfway up he suddenly stopped and began to tremble. Break! Finally he closed his eyes and roared. Boom! Chapter 1789. The Golden Crow 5th Prince vomited blood and retreated, shocking many people. The Saintess of Jade Lake's inheritance, Luo Qianni, was so terrifying. She sat in the pavilion and didn't move, but she made the Golden Crow 5th Prince vomit blood and retreat. Could it be the legendary law of illusion? It's possible. Otherwise, how could it have such power? The law of illusion is the law of kings, second only to the 10 supreme laws. Luo Qianni has a regal body. Another one with a regal body has appeared. Now it's really entering an era of regal bodies. Not only regal bodies but also sons of heaven. In Celestial City, several sons of heaven have appeared. Isn't Lu Ming the son of chaos? There was a burst of discussion all around. It should be the law of illusion, one of the law of kings. Lu Ming whispered. Below the 10 supreme laws, there were some laws that were extremely terrifying and powerful. They were not much weaker than the 10 supreme laws. These laws were called the law of kings. This king was not the king of martial kings but the king of laws. The king of thousands of laws, those who controlled the law of kings were called regal bodies. As for those who controlled the 10 strongest laws, they were known as Elysian children. For example, Luo Xiang controlled the law of speed, which was a law of kings. There was also Long Chen's law of strength, which was the pinnacle of strength. It was also a law of kings. Huang Ling's law of immortal fire was also a law of kings. Now there was another one, the law of illusion. The law of illusion could make people fall into an illusion unknowingly. When attacked in the illusion, the body would be injured. It was extremely mysterious. Lu Ming had also practiced illusion, but compared to the law of illusion, it was much weaker. Luo Qianni's soul power is definitely very strong. Lu Ming speculated. Who else wants to come up? Luo Qianni's voice sounded again. Let me. At this time Wan Pingyang got up and landed on the jade ladder. He wanted to climb up the pavilion, but the result was the same as the Golden Crow 5th Prince. He vomited blood and retreated, returning to his seat with a gloomy face. Then a few more geniuses went up. Some of them had a very high cultivation, but it was useless. The result was the same. They vomited blood and retreated. Luo Qianni's cultivation was unfathomable and unpredictable. Is anyone else coming? Luo Qianni smiled and looked around. When she saw Lu Ming, she nodded slightly at Lu Ming. Big brother Lu Ming, that big sister seems to be interested in you. She's hinting at you. Hurry up and go. At the side, Bubbles mumbled. You have sharp eyes. Lu Ming stroked Bubbles' little head, and Bubble immediately revealed an expression of enjoyment. However, it's not bad to go up and have a drink. Lu Ming smiled and stood up. He took a step forward and landed on the jade stairs. Everyone's eyes instantly fell on Lu Ming. You're overestimating yourself. Even the other great sage geniuses couldn't step on it. You, a mere bright sage, want to step on it? Wan Tianbing seized the opportunity to mock him. You're right. Let's see how he embarrasses himself later. Wan Pingyang continued. The others also shook their heads. Lu Ming, a bright sage, would not be able to step on it. He would probably be thrown down in a few minutes. Lu Ming glanced at Wan Pingyang and Wan Tianbing indifferently and said disdainfully, You're a good-for-nothing. Do you think everyone is like you? Who are you calling a good-for-nothing? Wan Pingyang's eyes flashed coldly. Whoever answers will be the winner. Lu Ming said. You're just trying to win with words. Let's see how you're going to step on it. Wan Pingyang's face was gloomy. Then open your eyes wide and watch. Lu Ming smiled and stepped on the stairs. Lu Ming moved forward step by step at a uniform speed. Soon he was halfway up the jade stairs. However, he did not slow down and continued to move forward at the same speed. Many people's faces changed. Wan Pingyang's face also changed. Lu Ming continued to move forward. Soon he was close to the pavilion. Still nothing happened. How can this be? Luo Channy didn't even make a move. Did Luo Channy deliberately let him go up? Impossible. Someone shouted, finding it hard to accept. She deliberately let Lu Ming go up. What did this mean? Could it be that Luo Channy was interested in Lu Ming? However, Luo Channy had thrown so many stronger geniuses down. How could Luo Channy be interested in Lu Ming? However, the truth was in front of them. Lu Ming moved forward step by step. Every step seemed to be stepping on the hearts of those geniuses. Huang Ling and Long Qin smiled faintly. If Lu Ming wanted to go up, why would Luo Channy stop him? Bam. Finally, Lu Ming stepped on the pavilion. Many people's hearts skipped a beat. Young Master Lu, please take a seat. A bright smile appeared on Luo Channy's face. Her crisp voice stunned many people. A beauty's invitation. Isn't it wonderful? Lu Ming smiled. He chose a stool next to Luo Tian and sat down. His body was almost leaning against Luo Tian. Then Luo Channy poured Lu Ming a cup of tea. Lu Ming picked it up, took a deep breath and praised, "It smells so good." No one knew if he was talking about the tea or the person. However, below the stage, the young genius's eyes were red with envy. "Lu Ming, what right do you have to sit up there? Get down." Wan Pingyang roared. He was so envious that he wished he was the one sitting on the stage. He could not understand why Luo Channy did not attack Lu Ming. Could it be that she was interested in Lu Ming? At the thought of this, he was mad with hatred and jealousy. "Whether I am qualified or not is not up to you to decide." Lu Ming glanced at Wan Pingyang casually, then looked at Luo Channy and said, "You are so beautiful." Even Lu Ming's heart can't help but beat faster. After saying this, Lu Ming slowly leaned toward Luo Tian. "Young master, you flatter me." Luo Channy was still smiling as if she was not angry at all. Lu Ming smiled. Then, under the angry gazes of the crowd, he picked up Luo Channy's cup and drank the tea in one gulp. "The tea that the goddess drank is so fragrant." Ah! Lu Ming laughed. This was very flirtatious. It was the same as flirting with Luo Channy in front of everyone. Many people thought that Luo Channy would lose her temper, but the result surprised them. Luo Channy was still smiling as if she did not mind at all. She said, "If you don't mind, you can come and have tea with Channy more often in the future." Oh my God! Many people were screaming in their hearts. What was going on? Did Luo Channy really like Lu Ming? Or did Lu Ming and Luo Channy already have an affair? At the thought of these two possibilities, many people were very upset. Some people were screaming in their hearts, "Why can't it be me?" Even the other 9 saintesses of Jade Lake were a little stunned. Based on their understanding of Luo Channy, if anyone dared to do this to Luo Channy, they would be crippled immediately. There was no other outcome. Chapter 1790. Lu Ming, how dare you flirt with Saintess Channy? You're courting death. I'm going to cripple you. Wan Pingyang roared. The Golden Crow 5th Prince and the others looked at him coldly. Shut up. Saintess Channy hasn't said anything yet and you've already jumped out. Don't you think it's embarrassing? Lu Ming scolded. Wan Pingyang looked at Luo Channy and found that she didn't react at all. He then looked at Lu Ming and his face turned red. Yes, Luo Channy didn't say anything, which meant that she admitted it. It was really embarrassing for him to jump out like this. Lu Ming, get down here. Who do you think you are? You're just a bright sage from Zhangzhou. You're not even an emperor-level force. What right do you have to sit next to Saintess Luo Channy? Tian Pingyang shouted. Oh, you're of noble birth, born in a big power. But you're born in a big power, yet you only have this little bit of cultivation. You're really a piece of trash. Aren't you ashamed? Lu Ming retorted. What did you say? Lu Ming, you coward. I want to challenge you. Do you dare to accept? I'd like to see who's the real trash. Wan Pingyang roared. He wanted to chop Lu Ming into pieces. Today he wanted to humiliate Lu Ming harshly to wash away his shame. Okay, I'll give you this chance. Lu Ming said coldly. He then looked at Luo Channy and said, Saintess Channy, can we fight here? Of course. Since you're so interested, Channy will open up the battle platform and let you have a good fight. Luo Channy smiled and nodded to the other 9 saintesses. The 9 holy maidens accepted the order and arrived at a spacious area. With a wave of their hands, the ground glowed and a battle stage appeared. In the Jade Lake, there are many fighting stages built in many places for disciples to learn from each other. You can go up and fight, Luo Qianni said. No one was surprised. In fact, many powerful forces had built such battle platforms. They were usually hidden by arrays. If there was a battle, they could be opened at any time. It was very convenient. If you want to fight, I'll accompany you. Lu Ming stood up and said, Saintess Qianni, pour me a cup of tea. I'll be back soon to accompany you. After saying that, he took a step forward and landed on the battle stage. This made Wan Pingyang grit his teeth. Lu Ming was too arrogant. Did he mean that he could defeat him before the tea turned cold? What a joke. His cultivation base is at the Great Sage realm. Moreover, he was not an ordinary Great Sage. He was a peerless genius with powerful combat strength. Even if Lu Ming could fight an ordinary Great Sage, he could not possibly be a match for him. There's no need for you to deal with a mere Lu Ming. I'll suppress him. Wan Tianbing stood up and stared at Lu Ming with sharp eyes. Wan Pingyang's gaze shifted as he said, All right, I'll leave it to you then. If Wan Tianbing could defeat Lu Ming and humiliate Lu Ming even more, why wouldn't he do it? Wan Tianbing stepped forward and came to the battle stage. Last time you lost miserably even when you teamed up with others. If it weren't for the old dog of the Wan family, you would have been dead. You still dare to fight? Lu Ming said disdainfully. I've said it. Last time I was careless. This time I'll kill you. Wan Tianbing shouted coldly. His body began to emit light as sacred weapons flew out and floated around him. Among them there was a spot of light that was particularly bright. A battle sword flew out from it, and a terrifying sword chi soared into the sky. It's a sacred weapon. Someone exclaimed. The corner of Lu Ming's mouth curled up slightly. It turned out that Wan Tianbing had sealed another sacred weapon, and it was more stable than the last time. No wonder he dared to fight with Lu Ming. Last time, Lu Ming was almost defeated by his sacred weapon. Kill? The battle sword chi gathered and the sword chi soared into the sky. Wan Tianbing held the battle sword and slashed at Lu Ming. Its power was shocking. Those below the Supreme Saint realm were shocked. The Wan family's art of 10,000 weapons was indeed amazing. As long as one's physical body and cultivation were strong enough, one could continuously seal powerful sacred weapons. Ordinary Supreme Saints wouldn't dare to face this move head-on. But Lu Ming was no ordinary person. I'll take this sacred weapon, Lu Ming whispered. In the next moment he rushed toward Wan Tianbing and slashed at him with his palm like a knife. Lu Ming attacked Wan Tianbing's sacred weapon with his bare hands, but the result was out of everyone's expectations. Clang! Lu Ming's palm hit the battle sword. The battle sword vibrated violently, and a terrifying force rushed toward Wan Tianbing. In an instant Wan Tianbing's expression changed. His eyeballs almost popped out of their sockets. He could feel a terrifying power coming from the sword. It was endless. Buzz! The battle sword vibrated and his palm exploded. The battle sword flew out of his hand, and his body was thrown far away like a kite with a broken string. He landed on the fighting ring and spat out mouthfuls of blood. His face was as pale as paper. Lu Ming waved his hand, and his sacred power rolled up and took Wan Tianbing's sacred weapon. Many people gasped a breath of cold air and looked at Lu Ming in horror. Wan Tianbing was defeated in one move. He couldn't even withstand a single blow. Many people still remembered that a few months ago, Lu Ming had fought with Wan Tianbing and the 6th Golden Crow Prince at Lake Phoenix. In that battle, Lu Ming defeated Wan Tianbing and the 6th Golden Crow Prince with great difficulty. He was even forced into a disadvantageous position after Wan Tianbing took out his sacred weapon. But now, Lu Ming had defeated Wan Tianbing with one move, and he spat out mouthfuls of blood and flew out of the fighting ring. He even took Wan Tianbing's sacred weapon. In just a few months, Lu Ming's combat strength had become so terrifying. Hand over your sacred weapon. Wan Pingyang stood up and stepped onto the fighting ring. His eyes were gloomy. Ridiculous. That's my trophy. Do you have any sacred weapons? Take them out. They'll be my trophy later too. Lu Ming said. You want my sacred weapon? I'm afraid you won't be able to take it. Kill. Wan Pingyang roared. His body emitted dazzling light spots. Sacred weapons flew out, and the chi of sacred weapons soared into the sky. There were 150 sacred weapons, 12 great sacred weapons and one sacred weapon. The sacred weapon was a long spear. Wan Pingyang held the long spear, and his aura was even more terrifying. Whoosh! The long spear pierced through the air and stabbed toward Lu Ming. Wan Pingyang was a lesser saint of the Supreme Saint realm. The power of the sealed ultimate saint weapon was even more terrifying than Wan Qianbing's. His combat strength was several times stronger than Wan Qianbing's. Bam! Lu Ming stepped forward and rushed toward Wan Pingyang like lightning. His palm was like a knife and he attacked. Clang! Lu Ming's palm collided with Wan Pingyang's long spear, and there was an earth-shattering explosion. Both of their bodies shook slightly and then they fought again. A great saint was much more powerful than a sacred weapon. Wan Pingyang's spiritual body was also a middle-level heaven spiritual body. His combat strength was extremely terrifying, far surpassing that of a lesser great saint. Dong! Dong! Chapter 1791. Everyone present was shocked. Lu Ming's combat strength was beyond their imagination. How can he be so strong? A few months ago, Lu Ming was far from this combat strength. His cultivation has improved and reached the great circle of the Bright Saint realm. How can it be so fast? He was only in the great circle of the Bright Saint realm a few months ago. Huang Ling and Long Chen's cultivation has also improved a lot. I heard that a few months ago, the geniuses who obtained the Hunyuan token entered the Hunyuan sect to participate in the assessment. Perhaps Lu Ming, Huang Ling, and Long Chen have all obtained the Hunyuan token. The Hunyuan sect's assessment has great opportunities. Perhaps it's true. The crowd discussed and soon someone had a rough idea. After all, the Hunyuan sect's assessment was no secret. Every few decades, a group of geniuses would enter and participate in the assessment. It was easy to make the connection. However, Lu Ming's combat strength was still amazing. A bright saint could fight a great saint, and his opponent was also a peerless genius. Dong! Dong! Lu Ming collided with his opponent a few more times and then retreated quickly. You're defeated. Wan Pingyang roared. You're thinking too much, Sil. Lu Ming whispered. Then, the long spear in Wan Pingyang's hand suddenly appeared densely packed runes, and along the long spear, they quickly spread towards Wan Pingyang's body, forming a terrifying sealing force to seal Wan Pingyang. Damn it, what is this? Wan Pingyang bellowed furiously. He unleashed all his strength and wanted to break the seal. However, Lu Ming had exchanged so many blows with him earlier. He had set up a terrifying seal. How could he break it in one go? Lu Ming took a step forward and his body moved like lightning. In an instant he was in front of Wan Pingyang. He threw a punch at Wan Pingyang's body. Wan Pingyang screamed miserably and his body flew far away. There were sounds of cracking and cracking sounds coming from his body. Devour. Lu Ming unleashed his devouring power and shrouded all of Wan Pingyang's saint weapons, preventing Wan Pingyang from taking them back. He then used his saint force to cut off the connection and kept all of the saint weapons. My saint weapons! Wan Pingyang roared. He was so angry that he spat out a few more mouthfuls of blood. 150 bright saint weapons, 12 great saint weapons, and 1 absolute saint weapon. All of them were in Lu Ming's hands. His heart was bleeding. There was a flaw in the Wan clan's cultivation method, and that was that it required a lot of money. It was too expensive to seal so many saint weapons. This was his many years of hard work. Now it was all gone. Lu Ming had taken it. I said, this is my spoils of war. Lu Ming took a step forward and appeared beside Wan Pingyang. He looked down at him and said coldly, so what if you have a high cultivation level? You, Wan Pingyang almost spat out blood again. His eyes were full of murderous intent. He glared at Lu Ming and said, Lu Ming, my Wan clan will not let you go. You better return all of my saint weapons. You can't take them all. Ah, what a joke. You're a piece of trash. You're not even a match for a bright saint with your great saint cultivation. Now you're threatening me with the forces behind you. Is this the style of your Wan clan? Is this where your arrogance lies? A piece of trash like you would be a complete piece of trash if you weren't born in a big force. I can kill a lot of you with one slap. Get lost. Lu Ming laughed. He kicked Wan Pingyang's head and kicked him off the fighting ring. Lu Ming, just you wait. On the other side, Wan Tianlong rushed over and helped Wan Pingyang up. They flew into the sky and left the place. Wan Tianbing did the same. He was too ashamed to stay. Who else wants to fight me? Lu Ming's eyes were like lightning as he scanned the entire place, especially the Golden Crow tribe. The Golden Crow 5th Prince and the Golden Crow 6th Prince had ugly expressions. However, Lu Ming's combat power was unfathomable. He did not seem to have used his full strength when he fought with Wan Pingyang just now. At the very least, he did not see Lu Ming unleash the divine power of the law of chaos. Although the Golden Crow Fifth Prince was arrogant, he was not confident in fighting with Lu Ming. He might even be humiliated. There were stronger sky prides present. However, they didn't have any grudges against Lu Ming. They didn't want to offend a sky pride with limitless potential like Lu Ming. Therefore no one went up to fight. Since no one wants to fight, let's continue drinking tea. Lu Ming smiled and stepped out. He returned to the pavilion and picked up the teacup. It seems that it's not too late. The tea is still hot. Then he drained the cup in one gulp. Although Lu Ming had fought 2 battles in a row, he was very fast and didn't waste much time. If young Master Lu likes it, you can come to the Jade Pool more often. There's plenty of tea. Luo Tianyi smiled. How can I not come when a beauty invites me? Lu Ming said. The others could only sigh. They were sure that Luo Tianyi had taken a fancy to Lu Ming. Below, Huang Ling's face flashed with an unnatural expression. Sister Huang Ling is jealous. Bubbles muttered. You, little girl, you're talking nonsense. Huang Ling's face flushed red. She picked up Bubbles' chubby body and rubbed it hard. Lu Ming had a good time drinking tea at the tea party. However, for the rest, it was as if they were drinking plain water. Not long after, someone found an excuse to leave. With someone taking the lead, more people left one after another. Soon, only Lu Ming and a few others were left. Saintess Tianyi, I'll visit you another day. Goodbye. Lu Ming cupped his fist. Young master, come to the Jade Pool more often. Luo Tianyi smiled and transmitted her voice to Lu Ming. Lu Ming nodded and then left the Jade Pool with Long Qin, Huang Ling and the others. Back at the Phoenix Palace, Lu Ming continued to cultivate in seclusion. In the mountain river diagram, Lu Ming took out a combat sword and planned to seal it. This combat sword was the absolute holy weapon that he had taken from Wan Tianbing. Lu Ming now had a total of 3 absolute holy weapons, a battle axe, a combat sword and a long spear. 2 of them were taken from Wan Tianbing and 1 from Wan Pingyang. Besides the long spear, Lu Ming was more comfortable with the combat sword. He planned to seal this combat sword first. When Wan Tianbing was in the Great Sage Realm, he needed the help of a martial emperor to seal the absolute holy weapon. However, Lu Ming's spiritual body was stronger. He was confident that he could seal it successfully without the help of a martial emperor. Immediately, Lu Ming activated the 10,000 weapon art and began to seal the absolute holy weapon. An aperture on his arm lit up. The absolute holy weapon flew into the aperture. Suddenly, a terrible tearing force burst out. The absolute holy weapon was too powerful. Lu Ming's arm swelled and almost exploded. Waves of tearing pain spread throughout his body. Hold on. Lu Ming growled and activated the 10,000 weapon art with all his might. He endured the pain. Gradually, the absolute holy weapon's chi of the absolute holy weapon calmed down. Lu Ming's arm gradually returned to its original state. After a few hours, Lu Ming finished cultivating. He had finally succeeded. Lu Ming let out a long breath. Sealing the absolute holy weapon was too dangerous. If he was not careful, his aperture would burst and his body would explode. However, once the seal was successful, the power of the 10,000 weapon art would skyrocket. Chapter 1792. I should be able to seal a few more great sage weapons. Lu Ming pondered. It was impossible to continue sealing more great sage weapons. His body could not withstand it. He had to at least break through to the great sage realm or evolve his spirit body again. However, it should be possible to seal a few more great sage weapons. This way his strength could also increase a little. Following that, Lu Ming sealed another 6 great sage weapons. The number of great sage weapons he sealed increased to 12, which was the same as Wan Pingyang. After cultivating the 10,000 weapon art, Lu Ming continued to comprehend the chaotic calamity finger and the sealing scroll. Time flew and another 2 months passed in a flash. Lu Ming's cultivation entered a period of steady improvement, slowly approaching the Great Sage Realm. During this period, the ancient Moon Holy Land entered a period of stability. Many of the sky prides of Celestial City had returned, but they were actively preparing for war, cultivating diligently, waiting for the opening of the Holy Court of Yuan Mountain. Several great emperors had established the Holy Court of Yuan Mountain. At that time, all the sky prides of Yuan Mountain would definitely gather in Celestial City. Celestial City would become a place for sky prides to compete for supremacy. If one's cultivation was not enough, they would only become a stepping stone for others. Therefore each and every one of them was cultivating diligently. On this day Huang Ling and Long Chen came together to look for Lu Ming to go to the Myriad Spirit Trading City. The Myriad Spirit Trading City was very famous in the ancient Moon Holy Land. It was jointly established by several powerful forces including the Wan clan. In the Myriad Spirit Trading City, there were many shops, all kinds of treasures and diluted items could be seen. After many years of development, it had become incomparably prosperous, becoming the two largest trading places in the ancient Moon Holy Land. Every day there was a sea of people. Lu Ming was naturally curious about such a place, so he readily agreed. He also wanted to take a look and see if he could buy some useful things. Also, he wanted to sell some of the useless things on him in exchange for origin stones. Lu Ming brought bubbles and the group flew in the air. Soon, a huge city appeared in front of them. This city was very big and people could be seen coming in and out of the city. There was an endless stream of people coming in and out of the city. The few of them landed at the city gate, which was guarded. If one wanted to enter the city, they had to pay a certain amount of ores. They paid the entrance fee and walked into the city. As soon as he entered the city, all he could see were shops of all kinds. There was no end in sight. Those factions that opened the trading city really made a lot of money. You have to pay a fee to enter the city, and you also have to pay a fee to rent out these shops. How many ores do they earn every year? Lu Ming sighed. No wonder the Wan clan was so wealthy. Every disciple had a large number of saint weapons to cultivate the 10,000 weapons art. The Wan clan had been developing for countless years and had many disciples. With so many people cultivating the 10,000 weapon art, the number of saint weapons required was a terrifying number. This wasn't a big deal, especially for those monarch-level experts who needed monarch weapons to cultivate. The price was even more terrifying. If one didn't have any income, they wouldn't be able to cultivate. The few of them wandered around the streets looking for what they needed. Lu Ming also entered a few shops and exchanged all the useless things on him for high-grade origin stones. When one reached the Saint Realm, they mostly used high-grade origin stones for cultivation. On the other hand, Lu Ming only had a few Mingxing weapons left. He had sold most of them in exchange for a lot of spirit liquid to water the Tree of Enlightenment. He had also bought some spirit herbs for bubbles. Suddenly they saw many people gathering in a direction. They were curious and followed them. They found that many people had rushed into a large hall. "Brother, why are there so many people running here?" Lu Ming and the others stopped a young man and asked. "This palace is a place where slaves are sold. There are all kinds of slaves for sale, both human and demon. I just heard that they're selling a true dragon, a peerless beauty. That's very rare. Brother, I have to go or it'll be too late." The young man said and hurried forward. "A true dragon? A beauty?" Lu Ming frowned slightly. "Let's go take a look too," Lu Ming said to Long Chen and Huang Ling. Then the three of them walked toward the hall. The hall was very spacious, but it was already crowded with people. The three of them squeezed into the crowd and looked forward. At the front of the hall there was a platform. This was the place where slaves were sold. At this moment, there was a beautiful woman sitting on the platform. She was wearing something that looked like a collar around her neck, wrists, and ankles. There were runes flashing on it. It was obvious that it could seal one's cultivation base. The woman looked haggard and her aura was weak. Her snow-white dress was torn in many places, revealing wounds that seemed to be caused by whips. There were also large patches of snow-white skin. It was obvious that she had been tortured. Although she was injured and her aura was weak, it could not hide her beautiful figure and appearance. Boom. Seeing the woman, Lu Ming's mind buzzed, and his body emitted a cold and terrifying murderous intent. Senior sister. Lu Ming's murderous intent was extremely terrifying. It surged in all directions like a tide. The woman on the platform was Lu Ming's senior sister, Xuaningxin. The people around felt chills all over and could not help but retreat. "Lu Ming, what's wrong with you?" On the side, Huang Ling was surprised. Why did Lu Ming suddenly burst out with such a terrifying murderous intent? "The woman on the platform is my senior sister." Lu Ming growled, his eyes emitting a terrifying murderous light. "Your senior sister?" Huang Ling and Long Chen were shocked. They understood why Lu Ming burst out with such a murderous intent. At that moment, on the platform, two elders beside Xuaningxin also noticed Lu Ming's abnormality. Their bodies burst out with a shocking aura. That was the aura of a supreme saint. "Who dares to cause trouble in the Thousand Spirit Exchange? Kill," one of the elders said coldly. Furthermore, in the surroundings of the palace, terrifying auras were faintly emitted. There were many powerful auras that caused people's hearts to tremble. This place was jointly built by the Wan clan, Skybird Palace and Sky Wolf Pagoda. Naturally, they had sent many experts to guard it. Lu Ming, don't be rash. The four forces have sent many experts here, Huang Ling said to Lu Ming through telepathy. Lu Ming nodded. He suppressed the murderous intent in his heart and withdrew the murderous intent in his body. On the platform, Xuanixin seemed to have felt Lu Ming's murderous intent. She raised her head and looked over. When she saw Lu Ming, her eyes flashed with surprise and hope, but then the light dimmed. She shook her head at Lu Ming. She wanted Lu Ming to leave and not save her. Senior sister, don't worry. I will save you, Lu Ming said to Xuanixin through telepathy. His voice was resolute and unquestionable. Xuanixin continued to shake her head. The forces here were too powerful. They were many times stronger than the so-called top forces in Song Prefecture. She did not want Lu Ming to offend these powerful forces to save her. Chapter 1793. Silence. On the stage, an elder raised his hand and the crowd quieted down. Allow me to introduce it to you. This is a snow dragon in the half-saint realm. It's very beautiful, which is rare even among true dragons. If you're interested, you can buy it and play with it. Now let's begin the auction. The highest bidder will get it. The starting price is 100,000 upper-grade primordial stones. The elder's words made many people's eyes light up. True dragons are rare, and it's a snow dragon. Such a beautiful one is even rarer. It must be very exciting to buy it and play with it. I've never played with a true dragon before. I wonder what it's like. I'll take it. In your dreams. It's mine. Many people stared at Xuanixin passionately. Xuanixin's eyes were filled with despair, while Lu Ming's killing intent was even stronger. I'll pay 150,000 upper-grade primordial stones. I'll pay 160,000, 200,000. Everyone started to bid. The crowd was in high spirits and the price kept rising. Soon it reached 300,000. 300,000 upper-grade primordial stones to buy a half-saint true dragon was definitely a high price. One upper-grade primordial stone was equal to 10,000 mid-grade primordial stones. 300,000 upper-grade primordial stones were equal to 3 billion mid-grade primordial stones. 400,000. Lu Ming's voice was heard. He directly raised the price by 100,000 to 400,000. Many people shook their heads at the sudden increase of 100,000. This price was too high. It wasn't worth it to buy a half-saint true dragon. 450,000. Just then, a young man with a sinister look looked at Lu Ming and said, "Boy, you want to compete with me? Let's see how rich you are." 500,000. Without hesitation, Lu Ming called out 500,000 yuan. 550,000. The young man raised the price by another 50,000. At the side, the others sucked in a breath of cold air. 550,000. This price was already extremely shocking. At this point, most people gave up on bidding and shook their heads regretfully. 600,000. Lu Ming continued to raise the price. 650,000. The evil-looking young man raised the price again, but it was obvious that he was in pain. 650,000 was an extremely shocking price. This was a high-grade primordial stone, not a mid-grade one. Huang Ling, Longchen, lend me some ores later. Lu Ming transmitted his voice to Huang Ling and Longchen. No problem. Give me as much as you want. Huang Ling and Longchen spoke. 1 million. This time, Lu Ming directly raised the price to 1 million. As long as he could save Xuanixin, he didn't care how many primordial stones he had to spend. Hiss hiss hiss, gasps could be heard all around. Lu Ming had actually raised the price to 1 million. Who is this person? What great wealth. Just for a female true dragon, he's willing to spend 1 million high-grade origin stones. I recognize him. He is Lu Ming. I didn't expect him to be such a lecher. He has a beauty like Huang Ling by his side, yet he still spent a lot of money to buy this true dragon. His taste is extraordinary. Young people are full of energy. Everyone was discussing and some elders even sighed. What nonsense are these people talking about? Huang Ling blushed. Not only were the others shocked, but when Lu Ming shouted 1 million, the evil young man's face also changed. He seemed to be struggling. In the end, he looked at Xuanixin passionately and shook his head. Apparently, he had given up on bidding. 1 million high-grade origin stones was too high. 1 million. Is there anyone who offers a higher price? You have to know that this is a snow dragon. Even in the true dragon race, it is extremely rare. If you buy it, you will definitely have a different taste. Normally, if you wanted to buy it, you wouldn't be able to find it anywhere. On the high platform, an elder spoke, hoping to incite the crowd to continue bidding. However, although many people's eyes were burning, they still shook their heads. 1 million high-grade origin stones was too high. 1 million. Is there anyone who wants to bid higher? The elder continued to shout. After that, the elder called out 3 times in a row, but no one said anything. All right, since no one wants to bid, this snow dragon belongs to, the elder was about to announce, but before he could finish, he was interrupted by another voice. Wait a minute. I'll bid 1,100,000. A voice was heard. It came from behind the high platform. There were some rooms behind the high platform. Then a group of young men walked out from there. Wan Pingyang, Wan Tianbing. Lu Ming glanced around and emitted a cold light. There were more than 10 young men in the group. Lu Ming knew a few of them. They were Wan Pingyang, Wan Tianbing, and Wan Tianlong. In addition, Lu Ming knew Su Tua from Sky Wolf Pagoda and young Master Tianying from Sky Bird Palace. Lu Ming did not know the rest. The one who had bid was Wan Pingyang. Young masters, why are you here? On the high platform, the elder bowed to Wan Pingyang and the others. There is a rare snow dragon for auction here. We are also very interested, so we came to take a look. After Wan Pingyang finished speaking, he looked at Lu Ming with a cold light flashing in his eyes. Lu Ming, these young men are the geniuses who founded the Myriad Spirit Exchange. Huang Ling transmitted her voice to Lu Ming. Lu Ming nodded. His gaze was cold as he glanced at Wan Pingyang. 2 million. Ha, Lu Ming, I didn't expect you to be so interested in this snow dragon. However, I am also very interested in it. Wan Pingyang laughed and raised the price again. 5 million. Lu Ming did not even blink and raised the price by 200,000. 160. 2 million. In the end, Lu Ming raised the price to 2 million, which silenced the crowd. Wan Pingyang was slightly stunned and did not continue to raise the price. He glanced at Lu Ming and then at Xuaningxin. He smiled and said, I understand. Lu Ming, you know this snow dragon, right? No wonder you raised the price so high. Lu Ming did not say anything and only looked at Wan Pingyang coldly. Wan Pingyang's lips curled into a cold smile. If that's the case, we won't sell this snow dragon. What did you say? Lu Ming stared at Wan Pingyang with a terrifying light in his eyes. Are you deaf? Let me tell you, we won't sell this snow dragon. The Myriad Spirit Exchange was founded by the 4 of us. I have the final say on whether we sell it or not. Wan Pingyang sneered and continued, a rare snow dragon, and it's so beautiful. To be honest, I haven't played with it before. Now, I'm going to keep it for myself. Brother Wan, you can't have it alone. Su Tua, who was standing at the side, said with a fiery light in his eyes. Aha, of course not. We're all brothers. Everyone has a share. Wan Pingyang laughed. Obviously, his words were for Lu Ming's ears. Lu Ming's killing intent was getting stronger. Seeing that Lu Ming was angry, Wan Pingyang, Wan Tianbing, and the rest were delighted. They felt the thrill of revenge. Chapter 1794. Haha, I've never seen such a beautiful snow dragon before. I wonder what's the difference between her skin and a human's. Wan Tianbing laughed. He stepped forward and appeared beside Xuaningxin. He raised his hand and was about to touch her. Go away. Xuaningxin roared and moved back. Slap. Wan Tianbing slapped Xuaningxin's face and scolded, Bitch, how dare you treat me like this? Tonight I'll make you beg for death. Then Wan Tianbing looked at Lu Ming provocatively. Boom. At that moment, a terrifying aura exploded from Lu Ming's body. Cold murderous intent spread out like a cold wave, causing the temperature in the hall to drop rapidly. Lu Ming was like a wild beast that could explode at any time. Lu Ming, what do you want? Do you want to fight? Wan Pingyang, Su Tua, and the others also released their auras and stared at Lu Ming. At the same time, terrifying auras rose from all around the hall. They were looking forward to Lu Ming's attack so that they could take the opportunity to kill Lu Ming. Junior brother, no. Xuaningxin looked at Lu Ming and shook her head. So you're Lu Ming's senior sister. Haha, I'll be more excited when I play with you. Wan Tianbing stared at Xuaningxin passionately. Wan Tianbing, you'll die miserably. I promise. Lu Ming said coldly. His murderous intent grew stronger. Huang Ling and Long Chen also released powerful auras. How dare you threaten me? Believe it or not, I'll strip this bitch naked right now. Wan Tianbing stood next to Xuanixin. He formed a blade of Saint power and slashed it. A large part of Xuanixin's clothes was torn apart. Bubbles, you save her. I'll kill her. Lu Ming transmitted his voice to Bubbles. Don't worry. Leave it to me. Bubble nodded. Then she opened her mouth and blew at Xuanixin. A strange ripple appeared in the air. On the high platform, Xuanixin's body suddenly rippled like water. In the next moment, Xuanixin disappeared. How dare you rob in the Thousand Spirit Exchange? You're courting death. Wan Pingyang came to his senses and shouted. Today we're not only intercepting people, we're also going to kill them. Lu Ming roared. When he shouted the last word kill, two terrifying sword gleams burst out from his eyes and rushed into Wan Tianbing's body. Wan Tianbing immediately let out a miserable shriek. He held his head with both hands. His face twisted in extreme pain. Lu Ming's forehead was glowing. That was because of his spiritual strength fluctuations. A terrifying energy was constantly pouring into Wan Tianbing's mind, attacking his soul. Lu Ming didn't tear Wan Tianbing's soul apart at once. That would be too easy for him. Lu Ming wanted to tear Wan Tianbing's soul apart slowly and make him suffer. The pain of the soul was 10 times, 100 times more intense than the pain of the physical body. Wan Tianbing screamed crazily and rolled on the ground. He held his head and hit the ground hard. You're courting death. Stop. An elder on the high platform yelled. You're all going to die. Lu Ming shouted. He took a step forward and dashed toward the fighting ring at lightning speed. His body glowed and sacred weapons appeared one after another. He held the absolute sacred weapon, the combat sword, in his hand. You're courting death. The old man roared and threw a punch at Lu Ming. This old man was a great sage, great mastery powerhouse. Whoosh! Lu Ming slashed out with his sword and collided with the elder's fist. The terrifying power made the elder's body tremble violently, and he retreated frantically. Dong! Lu Ming landed on the high platform and took a few steps forward. Dense runes spread out and crawled toward the two elders, covering their entire bodies in an instant. The sealing art could seal all living things. It directly sealed the cultivation of the two old men. Break! The two elders were shocked and frantically attacked. However, it was too late. Lu Ming rushed past them, and his sword slashed across the void. Two heads flew up high, and the destructive sword chi had destroyed the souls of the two elders. The two experts in the Great Saint Great Completion were killed by Lu Ming in the blink of an eye. How dare you! Kill! Wan Pingyang, Su Tua, and the others roared and attacked Lu Ming. Among these young men, 3 of them had reached the Great Saint Realm. They were all terrifying sky prides with powerful combat strength. Now that they joined forces, their power was shocking. Boom, boom, boom. At the same time, there was a burst of terrifying aura in the surroundings of the main hall. Then many figures dashed out in a frenzy and charged toward Lu Ming. Long Qin shouted and rushed out to the right. His body swelled up, especially his arms, which swelled several times. He threw out dozens of punches in a row. The space shook violently, and the terrifying fist force blasted toward those experts. These experts were almost all experts in the Great Saint Realm, and there were more than a dozen of them. However, Long Qin had broken through to the Great Saint Realm. With his spiritual body and force law, his combat strength was amazing. For a moment he blocked more than a dozen experts. At the same time, Huang Ling rushed to the left. She was bathed in the undying flame. A huge phoenix was formed and rushed toward those experts. For a moment they were blocked. However, there were more experts in front. There were more than a dozen of them, and they were all old men. Some of them had snow-white hair, and their aura was shocking. Among them, there were experts in the peak of the Great Saint Realm, and even complete Great Saint Realm. Leave it to me, brother Lu Ming. Bubble flew out. Then she took a deep breath and exhaled. Beep beep beep. Bubble spat out transparent bubbles from her small mouth and flew out. Those old men were all covered by the transparent bubbles. What's going on? An old man shouted in horror. His body, which was already extremely old, was aging rapidly. The white hair on his head began to fall off, and his skin began to become dry and wrinkled. Then, the blood in their bodies began to weaken. Time law, it's the time law. Time is passing quickly. An old man shouted and struggled frantically. After Bubble had broken through to the Great Saint Realm, her time law was even more terrifying. She could even accelerate the flow of time or reverse time. Next, Bubble waved her small hand, and ripples appeared in space, forming a terrifying spatial blade that slashed out. Suddenly, the bodies of the old men were split apart, and they fell on the spot. At the same time, Lu Ming also attacked. He pointed out a finger, and the chaotic calamity finger burst out. A huge finger pointed at Wan Pingyang. In the past few months, Lu Ming's chaotic calamity finger had improved again. It had reached 53%. At this time it was fully unleashed and its power was terrifying. The sacred weapons that enveloped Wan Pingyang's body were all sent flying. His body was directly blocked by the chaotic calamity finger, and he crashed into the wall of the main hall. The wall exploded and Wan Pingyang fell to the ground like a pile of mud. He was already half dead. Chapter 1795. After using the primal chaos tribulation finger, Lu Ming dashed out, brandishing his combat sword continuously. Boom, boom. The attacks from the other youths were all blocked by Lu Ming. Dong, dong. Then Lu Ming stomped his feet on the ground and countless runes spread towards Su Tua and the others, forming a terrifying sealing force to seal them. Kill? Lu Ming hollered and the divine sword art erupted. Some of the young men with weaker cultivation levels screamed miserably. Lu Ming held his sword and dashed out. Suddenly 5 to 6 youths were killed by Lu Ming. Lu Ming, you're courting death. An old man roared in anger. Lu Ming was so bold that he dared to make a move in the myriad spirit exchange and kill the youths of the 4 major forces. He was simply lawless. At the scene, the others were also incomparably shocked. Even more people rushed outside to avoid being affected by the shockwaves. How dare you hurt my family and friends? I'll kill all of you. Lu Ming roared. Today he would kill all of these youths. Poof. With a slash of his sword, another 2 youths were killed and died on the spot. Those who were below the supreme sage level were no match for him. They could not even block one of his attacks. Death was the only way out for them. Retreat, retreat. At this time, Su Tua and another supreme sage were scared. Their faces were pale as they frantically retreated. Lu Ming was simply a madman. You can't escape. Lu Ming struck out with his palm and controlled the array law. Endless runes formed a huge rune scroll and directly covered one of the supreme sage prodigies. The prodigy struggled frantically, but what awaited him was Lu Ming's chaotic calamity finger. A huge finger exuded destructive fluctuations and pointed at the man. No! The man screamed in despair, but he was sealed by the array law and could not use much of his strength. When the chaotic calamity finger touched him, he screamed and his body was torn apart. A great saint-level genius had died just like that. Such a genius, even among the younger generation of the ancient moon holy ground, was a top existence. He was high and mighty looking down on his peers. In the future he was destined to become an emperor, immortal and indestructible. Now he was killed by Lu Ming just like that. Damn it. A few old men roared in anger. That genius was from one of their powers. Lu Ming's eyes were cold and indifferent. He stared at Su Tua and his forehead lit up. The Taiji disc flew out and a huge Taiji diagram appeared, covering the entire hall. However, Su Tua was determined to escape. Just as he was about to leave the hall, a transparent bubble suddenly appeared and enveloped him. Don't kill me. Su Ta howled in despair as he reverted to his original form, a purple wolf god. Weren't you very arrogant before, insulting my senior sister? Now where did your arrogance go? Kill. As soon as Lu Ming spoke, the Taiji diagram transformed into a yin-yang fish sword that slashed out, killing Su Tua on the spot. The second great sage prodigy had been killed. Who dares to cause trouble at the Thousand Spirit Exchange? At that moment, a long howl came from afar. The sound was so loud that it reached the clouds. It's the Absolute Saint. The Absolute Saint is here. Kid, you're dead meat. Someone shouted. Wan Pingyang, who was severely injured, had hope in his eyes. Of course, there was also a crazy murderous intent. However, in the next moment he was terrified. This was because Lu Ming was also looking at him. He took a step forward and appeared in front of him. What are you doing? The Absolute Saint is here. Why don't you surrender? Wan Pingyang roared. It won't be too late to leave after I kill you. Lu Ming attacked coldly and swung his sword. Slash. The sword slashed down and Wan Pingyang was split into 2. His soul was destroyed. His eyes were still wide open, filled with unwillingness. The Absolute Saint was here, but Lu Ming still wanted to kill him. He had seen hope, but it instantly turned into despair. The elders screamed. They had lost too much today. Almost all of the geniuses of the four forces were killed by Lu Ming. You're courting death. The absolute saint was extremely fast. He arrived in an instant. He scanned the hall with his spiritual consciousness and saw everything that happened. He was furious. Huangling Longqin, let's go. Lu Ming bellowed. He soared into the sky and dashed toward the top of the main hall. With a slash of his sword, the roof of the main hall was directly slashed open. Huangling Longqin and Bubbles followed behind Lu Ming and rushed out. Where do you think you're going? The elders in the hall shouted and chased after Lu Ming. Stay. That absolute saint slammed his palm toward them from a distance away. A terrifying palm print covered the sky and was about to blast Lu Ming and the rest to death. Open. At this moment, Bubbles shouted and a space-time passageway was opened. The four of them rushed into the space-time passageway and disappeared. The next moment, the palm print struck and the space-time passageway collapsed. However, the four of them had already appeared tens of thousands of miles away. Then, the bubble opened another space-time passageway. The four of them rushed in and disappeared. Damn it. It's the space-time laws. An elder appeared in the sky with a flash of light. His eyes were extremely cold. Whoosh, whoosh. Then, a few more figures rushed over from other directions in the Thousand Spirit Exchange. They were all absolute saints with powerful auras. The absolute saints rushed into the hall with gloomy faces. They looked around and their faces were so dark that it was about to bleed. The entire hall was in a mess. More than a dozen supreme saints had died. More importantly, more than a dozen young geniuses had died here. It was a huge loss. One of the absolute saints went to Wan Tianbing. Wan Tianbing wasn't dead, but he had become an idiot. Report to the family. Send out experts. Even if we have to turn the ancient moon sacred ground upside down, we have to find Lu Ming. An angry roar resounded throughout the entire Thousand Spirit Exchanges. Many people knew that a storm was coming. At this moment, Lu Ming, Huangling Longqin, and Bubbles were hundreds of thousands of miles away. Only then did everyone stop. Lu Ming, you've killed so many geniuses from the four forces this time and caused a huge commotion in the Thousand Spirit Exchanges. I'm afraid the four forces won't let this go. Huangling looked worried. Lu Ming, come with me to the Divine Elephant Sect. Longqin said. Phoenix Palace is fine too. Huangling said. Lu Ming shook his head. Let's split up. I'll go alone. No way. The four forces will definitely send many experts to hunt you down. They might even send emperors. It's too dangerous for you to go alone. Huangling's expression changed. She looked anxious. If I were to go with you to Phoenix Palace or the Divine Elephant Sect, would Phoenix Palace or the Divine Elephant Sect risk offending the four major factions and start a war with them to protect me? Lu Ming asked. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.